We are live again, another Thursday, another AEW Dynamite review, another WrestlePurists Podcast. We are back again, the WrestlePurists Podcast, episode number 91, hosted by your usual, myself, Joe Hulbert, Charlie, Manny the Hooper, who always starts his podcast looking down, distracted, just not ready, you know? You got to snap him into it. We're going to talk Graps, man. We're going to talk Graps news. And we got a lot to get into. AEW Dynamite 200, etc., etc. First things first, please like, subscribe, super chat if you're feeling generous. Always appreciated. And don't forget to turn on our post notifications. Hope everyone's doing good. Starting with my fellow co-host, Manny the Hooper. I hope I have your attention, my friend. How you doing?
I got distracted by Eddie Kingston Rocky Rivera poster.
But hold on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it just got announced.
I'll let you off.
I don't got anything crazy, man. Today, just chilling.
Nothing eventful in the life of the Hooper like we usually get.
No, man. Besides the drug test yesterday, I'm pretty fine.
Did you pass?
Yeah, I passed. I'm always afraid if I'm going to perform during a drug test, or just it's one of those things.
I can't believe you asked for the results as though you wasn't the one administering the test. Come on.
I was like nervous during the questionnaires, like because it was for school and they needed a drug test before I go to school and all that.
School, yeah.
And they were, because I'm gonna be working with cars and stuff, so they wanted to make sure I was sober and all that. And they were asking all these questions. They're like, "So when's the last time you taken drugs?" And I said, "Fuck, man, they might know." And I said, I'm just gonna answer them like honestly, like a lie.
What do you mean they might know?
Wait, whoa.
How would they know?
Hang on. Did you just say I'm gonna answer honestly or like a lie? Did you say that?
Yeah. I went with a lie, and I said, "No, I've never done drugs." And then I said, "They're gonna do like a hair test, maybe." And I said, "Well, how long do those hair tests go back?" And I said, "Well, okay, the last time I did it, I was in high school, but that was like 7 years ago." And then they're just like, the test only goes back 5 months. And I said, "Oh, okay, I'm good then."
The fact that you even had some like hesitation that you would not pass because you done drugs in high school was, only something you could cook up, Hulbert, what's good?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. An eventful episode of TV to cover. I think actually tonight should be a really good time because there was a lot to enjoy about Dynamite this week, right? I mean, just generally the vibe with the 200 deal was, as we talked about last night, it was a triumphant occasion. So hopefully we can capture that with tonight's podcast. So happy to be here, mate.
Yeah, it should be a good one. And finally, Charlie, how are you doing on this fine Thursday?
I'm good. Had a productive day. Got some stuff ready for like uni prep to go back in September, and excited to review Dynamite. It was a good one. I enjoyed it a lot.
It was. AEW Dynamite 200. Quite the landmark, isn't it, Joe?
It is. I mean, I think it's easy to forget. I know the stat gets thrown around a lot. Nitro certainly didn't reach 300, right? And it's like, it's fascinating to think about that. 200 episodes, the average quality of those 200 episodes is almost certainly the highest in US TV history. It kind of has to be, I think. An insane amount of great matches across those 200 shows. So it's pretty incredible, honestly. And I think the video package that they showed off, like match one, if you've watched the show at any point over the last 4 years, or whatever it's been now, there was a few moments in there that was like, fuck, I forgot that. It's because there's been so much great stuff, almost to a fault sometimes. The show's filled with great stuff. So absolutely a huge achievement for sure.
Yeah. Go on, man.
During that video package, I said, "God damn, man! I didn't realize Prime and Powerful was all over this TV before."
Yeah,
they were most of it, and I said, "Shit, bro! I didn't even realize that. It was crazy."
Inner Circle, man, they kind of anchored the TV for like the first 18 months, I'd say, until the first Blood and Guts and second Stampede. They were kind of central to most of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. There was a couple of nice little visual touches as well, like the graphic template, etc. The double tunnel That was back for one night only. You know, the intro. They done kind of like the whole colourful thing again. And yeah, it was like, you know, memory lane.
Hey,
Absolutely.
I want to see where you guys are at on this. They should keep the color thing, right? They should keep it.
Yeah.
This is my genuine. Like, Chad, I don't know if everyone thinks watching this, but like, it's nice to have a wrestling show being vibrant on television. You know,
Yeah.
like I like the color scheme and the kind of paint splash kind of deal. I thought it looked really good then and now, so I'd like to keep it honestly.
I didn't even realize the tunnels were back.
Yeah,
They sure
I wonder what the chat prefers. Do you prefer it's like red, blue, and red,
It's
white,
just
and
kinda-
blue? You know?
Yeah, it doesn't really
Yeah.
doesn't really pop to me. I mean, it looks cool, don't get me wrong with it, but like there's something distinctive about that, you know?
Yeah.
I understand that some people will immediately go to NXT 2.0, but who gives a shit? They did it back then in October 2019, so who cares?
Yeah, that was a lifetime ago.
And I like how the lights were on yesterday too.
Yeah.
Made everything feel like back to normal.
Agree.
I feel like the more recent, like the way they have it now, it's very much we are a professional wrestling company on TV, whereas like the color pop stuff felt very AEW. Like
Yes.
I don't know, it feels very professional nowadays, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just different and not really like what AEW was in the beginning. So
Yeah, it's even though it's just a colour scheme, you know, it's it was something that was very like, you know, you give AEW kind of a unique personality to it, you know. Whereas the current colour scheme, although I do believe it does, like, you know, it's clean, but
Absolutely.
it's very professional. You know, it doesn't scream AEW the way that kind of like the old scheme used to. But I'm not against the current scheme personally, really. But
Yeah, it's fun.
you know, I'll do. If I had to pick one, I'll probably go with the older one. But yeah, AEW Dynamite 200. Not a bad show. Not a bad show at all. That's putting it very lightly. We opened up with Chris Jericho, Takeshita, versus Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. And yeah, man, this was I quite like this. You know, Don Callis managed to you know, kind of worm his way into getting Jericho to cheat against his own appreciation society. Joe, I couldn't, you know,
Ridiculous.
Jericho couldn't believe it. You know, he done the whole conflicted. You know, because like Callis hit. Who was it who got it? Was it Garcia or Guevara?
Garcia, yeah.
Mhm.
Garcia had the submission in, right?
Yeah, of course, he had the Dragon Slayer, as he calls it. He has
Mhm.
that locked in, you know, and Don Callis behind the referee's back, he nails him with the bat. And Jericho, he does the whole, you know, conflicted wrestler in the middle of the ring, doesn't know what to do face, you know, and he's doesn't know what to do for a long minute, you know. But he decides to go for the pin and he gets the win in the end, so.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Jericho looked in great shape yesterday?
His man, Charlie.
what was that? You cut out for me.
Yeah. You cut out for me too.
Oh, shit. I said Don Callis, it looks like he's going to get his man.
Mm-hmm. The Callis family it's shaping up. I wish Takeshita was more the focus of it. I get they have to do this whole get Jericho out of the Appreciation Society, but I feel like they could have condensed this into like a 2-week thing. Honestly, it's been going for a little bit now, but hopefully going forward, Takeshita just gets brought back to the forefront because that's what's important to me from it, anyways.
I think so too. I think Jericho was just trying to put over Sammy and Garcia before he heads out, which is pretty admirable. But you know, Takeshita should be like the guy doing all this. So,
well, yeah, I will say to that point, man, I did think this was a pretty good night for Garcia and Guevara. Like they got a good reaction. They were able to work as kind of the baby faces of the match. So I like that part of it. But to Charlie's point, Takeshita feels like a kind of just piece in Jericho's story now, which I don't think is what any of us would prefer. And as you know, it's a short-term thing. I'm sure they have big plans for him, but I'd like to see him focusing on his presentation and what his role is, and rather than just being a kind of supporting act in this story. But some good stuff here. Manny, what did you think of the match itself? I know I cut you off there, mate. Go on, what did you think of the match?
no, I was gonna say I'm actually completely shocked about the chemistry Jericho had with Sammy and Garcia, and like he just worked so well both for them, and he kind of pulled back his bag a little bit. I mean, he was doing Spanish flies and all this other shit with Sammy, which I thought he wouldn't be able to do. But somebody did point out to me in the Discord today that Jericho is skinnier than he was before. So I don't know. I'm just really interested in. I'm more convinced that I think Sammy and Garcia should stick together as a tag team for a bit because they ruled yesterday.
Yeah,
I agree. There's some good intensity to the Garcia Jericho stuff, right? Which was nice to see, and there was a lot to like here. Like I didn't think it was like a great match, but I don't think it was really trying to be. I thought this was pretty effective. The Jericho thing, I can't pretend to be like, enthralled by it. Like I'm not desperate to see this meeting next week by any means, but I do think thus far it's been like
meeting.
Yeah, but I will say I do think thus far it's been executed like decently well. It is worth noting that alongside the conflicted wrestler thing, Jericho also just said, "What the fuck?" and Taz was like, "Well, there it is." It's just funny. I think it's pretty good stuff, to be honest.
I thought it was funny when I don't know why Jericho was shocked because he was like staring down Don Callis while he was running towards his side of the ring, and when Jericho was trying to crawl to the ropes, he saw him coming the whole time because he's staring at him, and then he hits him with the bat. Then after he's just like,
wrestling, bro.
And then when
logic, bro, you just gotta live with it,
In my head too, when one of the 2.0 geeks said it, like when they're gonna have a meeting, mentor meeting, in my head I was like, why don't they just have it now? You're all here together. Might as well just. Why do you gotta wait a week to have the meeting?
You have to schedule the TV time, Manny.
Yes.
Matt Menard has to go to Tony Khan and say, Tony, we need 12 minutes next week for our mandatory meeting. And it's a very formal process.
I did like how he kind of it did pop me, should I say? How Matt Menard just kind of stormed up to him, got in his face, demanded a meeting. I thought it was very spiteful. Manny referred to him as one of the 2.0 geeks.
Well, to be honest, I forgot
he had some fire in his eyes last night.
I missed the serious 2.0 guys because they were awesome after that blood and guts thing.
Serious 2.0.
No, I actually
the
totally
one night only.
Serious is a little much, but I do get what you mean. Yeah.
You don't remember that Matt Menard promo where he's like,
"I
beat you walked" or whatever. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
maybe he's coming back. Maybe.
Wembley.
Matt Menard is the head of the JS.
Something.
Yeah.
And see how it plays out. But mandatory meeting, JAS next week, I believe. And it seems like Matt Menard and a few others got some things to get off the chest. And seems like Don Callis has got his man. What other highlights we got from Dynamite? We don't really want to be going segment by segment through the show, but it was a good episode, so we might just end up doing that, to be honest. But yeah, man, I kind of want to skip to Rob Van Dam.
Monty, let me tell you about this Rob Van Dam fella, man.
Cool.
I might want to pick up karate, man. I feel like once you just do karate, you fucking athletic. You can do shit for the rest of your life. You see how he did that spinning kick in the air, bro, and landed on his feet. That was amazing. I didn't realize you can do that at 52 years old. It's reminding me of Jafar Dan or something, man. I don't know. It's some crazy shit.
I'm genuinely interested by this because I know Manny well, and I know his fandom, the eras that overlap. How many Van Dam matches do you reckon you've seen? Because I don't know when you to go for it.
I think I've seen like all the Jerry Lynn matches. I've seen the Sabu matches.
Oh shit! I didn't know your ECW bag was that deep, bro. Good shit.
Yeah, I mean, so I've seen the John Cena match. There's some WWE stuff I've seen from RVD.
Most of the time when he was in WWE, like that stuff you haven't seen a lot of, right? It's fair to say.
Yeah. No, yeah. I've seen some of it, but I mean, RVD was one of my favorites as a kid because I used to walk around being like that.
That makes sense.
And I used to have the dragon shirt they used to have and all that. Oh, I still have it. My sister wears it now.
Die hard fan. Yeah.
Where did this come from? I was wondering. I was
thinking, found him here.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, what would Hooper have seen? I was genuinely interested, and now he's revealing he's like a super fan. Now I'm all in. I'm more into it now just because of this. Tremendous.
Rob Van Dam, man. So, seems like you're happy to see him, man. He's out there to confront Jungle Boy after Jerry Lynn kind of set it all up. This was it's amazing to me like, how powerful nostalgia is in like this era of wrestling. You know, like the fact that you can wheel out Rob Van Dam, who hasn't really done anything lately, but he had his Hall of Fame induction like last year or whenever it was. In terms of wrestling, he ain't done, he done a little Noah run recently, and he's done some stuff here and there, but nothing really too much of a note. You know, he's definitely a legend from yesteryear. And it's just amazing to me this era, like the pops that just any sort of nostalgia gets, you know. Rob Van Dam walks out there, and he is a legend. I'm not discrediting that, but just the place just erupted for him, you know.
Yeah.
They knew he was coming, and there he was, man. Rob Van Dam, you know. We're kind of like 15 years out of his prime, but we're here to see him wrestle Jack Perry next week on Dynamite. It seems, Joe. What are you thinking?
I actually like this as a TV deal. And I think you can still, if Rob looks good, which I have a feeling he actually might, because
See that heel kick?
well, yeah, I mean that's one thing, but I think the big thing with Rob is like how much he cares. And I'm going to assume he cares a lot about this.
You know?
I'm going to assume he's very motivated by this deal, which, without making allegations, I'm not totally convinced he was super motivated in 2020 TNA during the pandemic. Just mathematics on my part, could be wrong, but you know, I think he's going to really go for it next week. And I think what will happen is then, to what we talked about last night, I think he'll probably wind up on Wembley anyway in some kind of party, trios, or tag match. And because, look, we have to be completely real. The entrance at Wembley is a worthwhile expenditure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've bought the song and Wembley is within the month, you probably need to do the entrance at Wembley. To be totally honest, I'm not even a big RVD fan, but it is what it is, you know.
I don't know if he's gonna be able to do it because I saw somebody say that he's scheduled to do something for next year's WrestleMania that weekend or whatever.
Yeah, some PW Insider said something like maybe his only appearance. He's still scheduled to do something. He's been advertised for WrestleMania 40 weekend or something like that. So
that's right. That's next year.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What, like the on sale thing?
I mean, I can look it up right now if Hulbert, Hooper, or the wonderful Charlie want to fill some dead air.
I'll do that. That's fine.
Wonderful.
What I actually do is for Charlie. What did you think of Rob Van Dam? What did you think of Rob Van Dam's debut?
Like, I said yesterday on the podcast that like it would pop me, but like I don't really need to see it.
Yeah.
And then it happened, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm kind of all in on this. Like the crowd reaction, because they like popped for the music, and then they popped again. like it swelled back up. It was very fascinating to watch, but he looked good out there. But like the fact that he's like in his 50s, he's still jacked, which was kind of a surprise. I haven't seen what he looks like recently, so. But I'm all in on it. I feel like he can get, like, him and Jack Perry are going to have good chemistry. I feel like it's going to be a fun little TV match, I think, for a singles.
Yeah. It's a nice attraction for TV, right? I think it's fair to say, and it's a novelty. And, you know, Rob is very likable. He's one of those guys who's like, he has to be a babyface, or at least since he kind of became a thing. Initially, he was a heel, but he's really had to be a babyface for the last, like, 20 plus years. And the beauty of Van Dam is because he has that very unique RVD demeanor, he can kind of get away with aging because, you know, he doesn't really give a fuck anyway, really. He's chill with it. His
promo was so funny. Exactly. Like in the show, it was so funny. Like, you could just tell he was just rambling, but, like, he got his point across eventually, but he said so many words, and only 4 of them meant anything, so...
Right. I mean, it's different if it's when an older guy is cutting a promo about, you know, I'm going to kick your ass, I'm going to do this, the next thing. It can show their age. With Van Dam, he's like, you're going to see him next week, RVD. It's like, yeah, it works for me. It works for me, brother. Monty, have we got an answer on this?
Yeah, so for those who care, which is just, you know, it's just Pops, man. He was with Kate Forbes, of course, last night at Dynamite. And it says here, according to PW Insider, Rob Van Dam is only slated for 1 bout against Jack Perry. WWE is advertising Van Dam as part of their WrestleMania 40 weekend packages in Philadelphia.
Okay. I feel like if he looks good, though, I feel like that work could still,
I feel like next week we'll decide what they're actually going to do, you know? Because if he goes out there and he stinks it up and he looks terrible, you know, it's like, they don't need to, you don't really want to do it. But if he goes out there and they kill it, which is entirely possible if Rob Van Dam is looking, he's out there, he's looking sharp, and he's on a good workout plan, etc. You know what I mean? He could surprise us. He looked all right in a few of those matches.
I just think honestly, I just think if it's his motivation, and I think he will be for this. So he'll probably be okay.
I can see it being good, man.
Yeah,
honestly.
Especially if it's like. If it's not given too much time, especially, right? Like, if they have, 8 minutes and he can do everything in his arsenal that he can still pull off, it'll probably be better for that. So,
I don't know if I'm not him. I don't take this opportunity to be on, one of the biggest shows ever. That's just me.
You're both different,
course, You are the Hooper,
Well, I don't know if you can go a couple of days not smoking.
You didn't earn that name,
Yeah. Are you on Wembley, Manny?
No, I don't know. Not yet. If I do, I'll be spray painting AEW belts for you guys outside the room.
Yeah, you can buy an AEW belt for £500, and then Manny will spray paint it for 20 quid.
I'll have different spray cans with me. I'll have purple, red, black.
Ooh, custom colors.
Yeah,
they have different prices for each color.
We'll talk about it. I haven't
Well, get your pre-orders in, people. But yeah, man, Van Damme, he also hit a promo on Jack Perry. Yeah, but like I said, he's coming next week for Jack Perry, man. The promo pop, man, Rob Van Dam backstage interview on AEW Dynamite. So it was real, man. It was real. People love Rob Van Dam, man, and that will, of course, carry through in the match. They'll get by doing a lot less by just the fact that it's Rob Van Dam in a wrestling ring. It's people always love the guy. Rob Van Dam.
I couldn't stop laughing every time he did a side view because it looked like his arms real small. And he had that big chest and big body like that.
Oh yeah, he's interestingly shaped guy these days. But God bless him.
He looks like Baz Rutten out there.
Real shit, man. I want to let's touch on a few super chats. Pylons, $10. Appreciate you very much. Afternoon. How are you guys feeling about heel Jack Perry? I think his promos still need work, but he's absolutely nailing the physical comedy aspect of the type of heel he's trying to portray, in my opinion. Charlie?
No, I pretty much agree with that. Like, when he pulled that little girl in front of him in the crowd yesterday, that made me laugh so much because he is pretty much nailing the chicken shit heel stuff. I think he's gonna really run with it. It's gonna be really good for him.
Yeah, I agree. I've always week was very encouraging. I think he's getting better each week. Monty, I know you've been very down on it. Do you agree, or are you still out on this deal?
I still struggle really buying into it. It's such it's such kind of a dramatic change from what I think he was doing so well naturally before. The promo side of it, I think I'll struggle with for the foreseeable future. But his kind of mannerisms and his instincts have definitely. He's been able to showcase some decent heel instincts for what Charlie mentioned just now, and what's mentioned in the super chat as well. Again, mannerisms, instincts, etc., etc. But it's kind of like the promos and really buying into the character. I'm kind of struggling with right now. In the ring, I remain the same. He's always been very good, and he's only going to get better because he's still young as fuck. So. We'll see how it turns out. It's not as disgusting as it was when it first. It was tough, mate. First heel promo was tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Manny, I know you're not on board.
Jungle Boy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but I just he hasn't done anything to wow me, right? Just wears all black now. I mean, I don't know what it is.
You're not buying into it?
No, it's hard for me to buy into it. I need him to, I don't know. I need to hear stories of him doing, method acting or something. I don't know. Just I just don't believe the character.
I mean, I agree with that part of it, I don't know about the whole method acting thing, but...
I just
Yeah,
need
man.
I just need him to get sucked into the character. I mean, I don't know.
He might win you over next week though with his Rob Van Dam match. You
I
know.
don't know. Maybe RVD is going to win me over. I'm thinking you should be getting pushed to me.
There
But
is,
if it's
there-
go on,
bro,
John.
this match would have to be so bad for Manny to give it a bad review. Like
Yeah.
I've seen when an old dude gets in the wrestling ring, Manny is like he has it at free on Bell. It's free. Like this is the dude who wrote a love letter about the Ric Flair's last match. So he's ready to go, man. This is his ball game.
It was funny because when I was watching this yesterday in my here in my chair out, and like he came out, and then like this is what happened. I went like this. I came back up, and I said, "Oh my god, RVD's in the same company as Kenny Omega. We're this much closer to the match, my dream match."
How long's this been your dream match, man?
One of them. It's been a while.
You
12
have brought this
hours.
up before, I think. I think Manny
Yeah.
has brought this up
Mm.
before. Anyone
Fair.
who's got an official script of all the worldwide archives can bring this up for us. I'm sure someone has it out there. So.
It's there. It's been on Late Night Grand. I know I've said I want to see
Yeah.
Kenny versus RVD before.
Yeah, man. Average Limp Biscuit enjoy £4.99. No message, but we appreciate the super chat
Yes.
nonetheless. Keep the super chats coming, always appreciated. Match1084, appreciate you as always. $1.99. Shout out Nick Wayne, mass transit level blade job. Hey man,
No,
that was a horror show, man.
Crazy.
That was
That was real.
the
Mhm.
Mogul Embassy. They're getting mean, Joe.
They are. Hope they don't kick the shit out of me at Wembley. You know.
I hope they don't do that to you either, mate.
Mhm.
Can you imagine that in the middle of the program?
Come to get a Pepsi, you know. I just see Joe
Yeah.
getting the shit
Jim
kicked
Ross
out of
yelling,
him.
oh my god, it's Bing Bong. Getting the boots put to him by fucking Toa Leona. I mean, there's nothing worse, you know. No, that was good stuff, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. They go to I believe it's called the Buddy Wayne Academy. You know,
Mhm.
where Nick Wayne. You know, it's where he gets his hours in, where he gets his ring
Garage.
time in. You know, he puts the grind in there. And AR Fox and Swerve, they landed on him, bro. They landed on him. They fucked him up, man. That was
Mhm.
it was quite brutal. You know, I'm sure most of the people watching this have seen it by now. But you know, as mentioned by Mousefan in the previous super chat, mass transit level blade job. There was blood all over the place. You know, it
Yeah.
was quite the scene, Charlie. It was quite the scene.
It was, yeah. Like, brutal's the right word for it. They pretty much killed Nick Wayne in the middle of that ring. Like,
Basically, yeah.
like he's like when they did that like last shot back to him where he was just like laying on the fucking mat and it just like a physical pool of blood. I was like, oh my god, that is a lot. And you don't like they're all in on this story, and I'm glad that they're going about it the way they are. And like they made immediate sense of why AR Fox is aligned with Swerve, and they were just like, yeah, we don't have like we're not friends, but he's an affiliate now, and affiliates look out for each other. I was just like, yeah, makes sense. Like it was really good. I really liked like the promo they did before, then that footage. It all looked great.
Yeah, look at. It looked like a snuff film.
Jesus.
Jamie says it looked like they fucking shot him. It did. It was
Couldn't get the
Shawn
face
Michaels
recognition.
esque blade job. You know, this is what the people are saying. You know, but yeah, it was AR Fox. Seems like Mogul Embassy is a pretty decent fit for him in terms of first impressions. It's only been a week or so, but
Right.
it looks like it's going to be a nice fit for him. And Swerve has definitely had an interesting array of partnerships and affiliates during his time in AEW, but I think this one will be a pretty natural, solid, strong fit for him to be part of his stable, to do the occasional tag match, to do whatever he needs to do.
I was blown away by
As AR Fox could have. Go on, man.
I was blown away by AR Fox's ski mask, and then he had like a huge fitted hat. I thought that was really crazy. I was like, dang, having to buy a hat just for a ski mask.
That's the Hooper takeaway from that segment, everyone.
And then the other takeaway I had was like, this is why you don't have an academy behind your house, because then everybody knows where you live, and this is how you get assaulted like that. That's why you just just have a own private building and nobody knows where it
it's
is.
a shoot, bro.
Well, I mean, I guess after you get beat up like that, you can just crawl yourself back to your house and just get.
I will say though, Charlie brought up, and I'm glad because everyone's focusing on the violence in the angle, right? Like, but the actual pre-angle promo was like really, really good. AR Fox got a really good promo there. I love that their whole vibe and look there was terrific. When the segment began, the angle began, I should say. At first, I was like, "Oh God, this could go off the rails quickly," because that is a very delicate balance to strike in segments like that. That shit can come across like ridiculous very quick. And wrestling will always be. I mean, this is still like inherently ridiculous. It's pro wrestling, but this got like actually violent, and it got so violent that it almost took like an old school feel. It reminded me, the iconic Horseman angle where they've got the camera themselves. I like the detail of Prince Nana having the camera, and you could hear him like that stuff added a lot and added kind of a sense of danger to it. The one thing, and I know it's the most boring critique, but someone has to say it, you have to put it over better when you go back to the arena. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to sit here and every week
witness a murder scene, and it's just like, well, next
18-year-old kid, like an 18-year-old kid just got the shit kicked out of him in his home academy, and Excalibur was like, this is getting personal. Aussie Open up next. It's like, man, it's a waste of the angle. Like, you have to put it over. I'm sorry. Like, it's such a good angle. You should, like, the announcer should be like, someone needs to suspend Swerve Strickland. He just went and nearly tried to kill Nick Wayne. AR Fox was threatening to stab him if he didn't unlock his phone. I mean, this was serious business. It's not about just getting personal. It was a serious assault. Oh.
Especially, like, they went to a break straight after the Aussie Open's, like, entrance as well. So you could have just switched this, like, have the commentators put it over, then go to a break, then do the entrance. Like, let the moment breathe.
Stuff like that amazes me because it's like, they've done the hard part. They've made the segment and it's great. The angle's great. It's like, now just put it over. Just do yourself,
I'm amazed by how both factions of this mobile MC all feel kind of threatening. You have Swerve and you have AR Fox now, and then now you have the Brian Cage, you have Toleon and Khan. They just all feel like menacing. Even their promos that they've been cutting and Brian Cage has been leading them are just so funny, but just like, holy shit, like, these guys are off one.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, someone said this to me on Twitter earlier, and this is worth, like, you could do it the other way, where because they knew it was a pre-tape, they basically said, like, they could say Prince Nana bought the TV time. We apologize for what we're about to show, but he's got, like, you could, because obviously, in fairness, it was a pre-tape, so you can do it in different ways. But point being, either way, regardless of details, it was a hell of an angle.
It was, and like you put very well. Got to do a better job putting this stuff over when you get back to the arena, man. It stands out even more when you either expect or hope for it as well. It makes it even more funny, when as Joe's impression pointed out, But yeah, it was a good angle though. It was a good angle, and the only critique about it isn't even about the angle itself, So
I also want to give one final shout out to Nick Wayne, man. Being 18 and having your own students, that's crazy, bro. Like, teaching people how to wrestle. Shit, it's like showing up to work and like the manager's your age, and you're just like, oh shit, man, how long has this guy been here?
Honestly, credit to the kids who were with him too, because all the physicality looked great here. Mm-hmm. The kid who was on the outside of the ring took a single boot to the face that looked absolutely devastating. Everyone earned their check here. Good for them. God bless.
God bless. You know what, Manny? What was your personal favourite moment with Dynamite last night? Dynamite 200. What was the Hoopers' favourite part about it?
Aussie Open versus Vikingo and Commander.
Yeah, man. ROH Tag Team Championships. This was a good outing, man. Aussie Open starting to pick up some steam. Do you know what I mean? Of course, recently ROH tag titles out there defending them. And, yeah, man, a good bit of business. Joe, what did you reckon?
Nice match. Yeah, I like this. I like the way this was produced, and basically just worked like a kind of action, like shootout almost at the hour and a half mark. I think it was when it was, right? I think it was like 90 minutes in the show. Kept things moving. good action, because I do think Aussie Open, as great a team as they are, I think they're still finding their like TV formula. This kind of took away that challenge because they just went, they kind of just did all their signature stuff across like 8 minutes. It was the right move. It was good TV. And I think Vikingo and Commander as a team is like a fun thing to kind of play around with for these TV matches. So I like this a lot.
Just shows you how they've got a lot of tag teams in that division, man, where you can just kind of throw out Aussie Open and Vikingo and Commander 90 minutes into a show, and it's just kind of part of the show. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, man, a lot of depth in that tag team division. It's just putting it to use. This was
feels like it's coming back for sure.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah. Charlie, your boy, there's your dog, but your boys Aussie Open, man. They had a nice match last night. Successful title defense against the high flying Luchas.
It was a lot of fun. Vikingo's a madman, and some of the stuff he do is insane. Like that fucking him doing the their fucking takedown with the head scissors. I can't even think of what the moves.
Yeah, swirly twisty.
He that. He just rolled up Carl Fletcher's body. I don't understand how that works. How he even does shit like that. But no, I had a lot of fun with this. I think, like you were just saying, the tag division, it feels like they're moving a lot of parts around to bring it back, make it red hot again, and I'm very excited about the future of it. I hope we keep getting random little fun tags like this and building the division up. And I hope they keep Commander and Vikingo doing stuff like this together. I feel that they had a lot of chemistry as a team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if I got this vibe while I was watching it. It gave me the vibes of Leo Rush and Dante versus Matt Sydal, Lee Moriarty, where you're just watching one an incredible match you didn't expect to be incredible, and it just blew me away. And I just feel like you wouldn't get this on any other wrestling TV show, especially with these luchadors, because they were doing some amazing stuff you wouldn't see on WWE. Or it was mind blowing, and I just hope that we see more stuff like this. I think this is the only. I think if AEW keeps going down this route, which is weird because they went away with it for a while, but if they stay on this path like they've been doing with Ring of Honor shows, I think you can really separate them from WWE and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was definitely a good outing.
Shout out Mark Davis. He seems to have recovered really well. He didn't really look like Mr. Slips. So.
And shout out Commander.
They're awesome, man.
Did you see Commander giving his stuff away to the kids? Yeah, that was really cool. The kids love Commander.
Yeah, with Aussie Open especially, it's hopefully they can continue to pick up where they left off before Davis went down with injury, because a lot of tag team of the year shouts, and it seems like the race for that by the end of this year will be pretty close if it goes how we hope and expect. The Young Bucks rumored to be wanting to get back into the tag division. FTR are having a great match every week, it seems, at this point. Aussie Open are back together and wrestling. Who else? We've got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn over in WWE. Obviously, Kevin Owens has got a short-term injury at the minute. Unfortunately, he's not on the SummerSlam card, but they've definitely had their fair share of really, really strong TV matches so far this year. So it looks like that's going to be quite a tight race.
Bro, I'm excited for this tag team wrestling in AEW. This week on Collision, FTR versus Big Bill and Brian Cage, man. This is the shit that we talk about, man. And
could be.
This is the first big man tag team we have in AEW, and they're gonna wrestle FTR, bro. I'm pumped. I have it circled on my imaginary calendar. I'm just waiting for the days for it to come.
Feels like Brian Cage plus Dax Harwood equals some kind of hilarity. I feel, Cage going for 8 discus forearms in a row. I'm sure. I've circled that part of the match. I'm with you, Manny. I'm very excited. This kind of Collision is, I think, central to this tag team revival we're seeing, because they basically FTR kind of have to have a match every week on Collision because that roster apparently is 8 people deep. So it's kind of where we're at this point. I'm just hopeful that Dax Hole will be able to move by the end of the year. Praying. But
who needs to move when Graps is forever?
That's what I say, bro. But I'm just trying to be, polite.
Trying to be diplomatic.
I mean, it is what it is. Part of the game, right, Manny? To be fair, Manny has said when it comes to his Hall of Hoopers, early retirement is mandatory for admission, right, Manny? So it's what it is.
That's why I really
Speaking
love
of-
Kenny's comments yesterday. You know, Kenny's comments were
Yeah.
for the real.
Yes. You know what, Manny? You want to talk a little bit more about him? You know, as
Yeah, we'll talk about Kenny.
that's what I mean, because we spoke about him yesterday on the pre-Dynamite show, and we got into the quotes, Manny. We did get into the quotes about the reasons that the Bucks and Hangman had. Very, very.
Markish.
Oh no,
The
Manny.
opposite, bro. The opposite.
Very admirable, normal, fair
Professional.
reasons for signing a contract. Money, lifestyle, family, etc., schedule. But, Kenny Omega, he just wants to continue to be the best belt machine. It seems he wants to wrestle diverse people. He believes that AEW partnerships, etc., can allow him to do that, and he just wants to keep adding to his toolbox. And very different reasons. But Kenny doesn't have a family, Well, I'm sure he has a family, of course, but he doesn't have a wife and kids,
Mhm.
But yeah, sounds like very much a Hooper decision,
Why be bogged down when you can go out there and have real graps? Just go out there, put your life on the line every time, and just create art. This is how legends are made, and this is how people remember you. Just going out there having killer matches. And if you have a family, I mean, you're not going to go out there and kill yourself every week. You're going to be like, I want to go play with my kid.
John Moxley
Huh?
has a family.
Speaking of killing yourself for the game,
Well, I feel like Moxley. I feel like Moxley forgets he has a family once he goes out there. And he goes back there and he's like, "Oh shit!"
He wrestled like 4 basically death matches in the space of a month. He's crazy.
We transitioned to this conversation by Manny telling me that it's okay. Dax Harwood's gonna not be able to walk by the end of the year, and every promo Dax cuts is about his family, and Hooper's like, "Fuck families. Who gives a shit? Go out there, take a brain buster. Who cares?" Incredible.
Big Dax, man. Dax the Axe. God bless him. As I very much echo Joe's statement that I hope he's good. I hope he holds up, because he's been very open about, these matches definitely take the toll.
How many bed sheets do you think John Moxley goes through? Because yeah, all the blood that he gets all over them, I think that's crazy.
An interesting question to ask.
Definitely was, but it's the Hooper. But yeah, like I said, speaking of Moxley, speaking of career shortening, that anything goes freeway match last night. It was it's pretty brutal,
Trent, he took
He's
multiple
an animal,
headbutts.
right?
Did nobody tell him this is like you have another match after this? He just went out there and took like 6 headbutts.
He listened to your advice, bro. That's
I know. And then it was funny because when I was in Discord, I was talking to the guys, and I was just like, bro, man, fucking Trent, man, he works his ass off just to be treated like shit. And then as soon as I said that he gets the pin on Benton, I said, oh shit, Benton took the pin. I said, there's no way that was gonna happen. I was so proud for Trent. I was like, man, I hope he gets an international run. He deserves it. No man works harder than this. And then I see fucking Shitty T coming out and all this. And I said, fuck, man, this is like when you get like this is like when you do all the homework for the group, and then all group gets praised because of your hard work. And I said they're gonna win the trios titles because this man's hard work. It's very nasty, but
all because of Trent's hard work, and nothing to do with Orange Cassidy having an international title run for like the last like almost year.
Well, look, Trent's the backbone of that group. I don't know what to say.
He's cooking.
Incredible.
It's crazy.
I want somebody to show me in that company who has put more work and effort in like Trent. Nobody does it, and he goes out there and gets crumbles. And yesterday he ate a pie. No, he ate a cake.
I feel like Charlie just mentioned Orange Cassidy, who wrestles like every single week on TV, but
Man, he just powered through it,
Well, that was kind of the point of it. Yeah.
Trent winning was a nice change from the norm, as Manny very eloquently put. But yeah, man, these had anything that you could really expect from a TV, anything goes match. We even got thumbtacks, we had blood, headbutts, table spots after table spots, superplexes to the outside.
I broke about 7 tables. It was crazy.
And it was so funny in this match.
Yeah.
Like the part when Trent and Mox wrestling, and he like rolled back in, and he had the garbage can, and he's so like the way he does it is so pedestrian, which makes it so much funnier. You know,
I like how the rule
Strolling.
said no more headshots to the head, and he just came in there with the trash can, the first weapon of the match, and just blasted Trent with the head with it, bro. And then like you can just see the effort of Penta going. Like I was like, oh man, it's one of those Penta performances. Yeah. Then, bro, that strike exchange he had with Moxley towards the end, that was
he got into it.
Yeah,
for sure.
He had his vest ripped off. There was a lot going on.
No.
He dropped the vest, He dropped the vest.
After all the chaos and mayhem, and it's worth pointing out that the crowd absolutely ate this up as well. It weren't all done in vain. Max didn't pull out the bag of thumbtacks for nothing. The crowd absolutely ate this up. The only thing I would say is that if you do these matches, it's been a common criticism of AEW for a while now. But if you do these matches too often, especially on TV, they will lose novelty. But again, very minor criticism when you look at how much the crowd ate it up. It definitely didn't lose the novelty last night, but all three of them absolutely they went for it. So shout out to all three, man. Trent got the win, very unexpected, but good stuff, man. And this is going to set up a parking lot brawl between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Best Friends, and Manny, this seems like it's going to have a lot of moments in this that I think it's going to get you fired up. I don't know.
Yes. I have a conspiracy theory with this match.
Okay.
I think because I found out this wasn't taped with Rampage yesterday. So part of me wonders, is this where Prime and Powerful are going to come back? Because there was a lot of there's been a lot of teases over on social media about it. And then yesterday in that video promo, I said, this is kind of weird. And they talked about them too. I wonder if this is where they come back during this match tomorrow or whenever it comes out. So
that's actually a good show.
Wow. When you started and explained that this was all built on the fact they hadn't taped the match last night, I was like, yeah, bro, it's a Daly's place. But then when you went, this is the beauty of the Hooper, is as he goes further in, you go, hold on. That's not a bad call, man. I don't know. I mean, there's something to that. I mean, obviously, Rampage probably wouldn't be the ideal place for it, but it does make sense. That was their signature match in AEW. Most memorable moment. I like it, Hooper. I think it's good stuff.
Yeah.
And then the tag division is on fire, so it adds more to it. So there you go. No crumbles.
No crumbles. Yep.
Yeah. Little crumbles, as Manny calls them, God bless. But yeah, I'd definitely be happy to see Pride and Powerful back, Santana and Ortiz back in the fold. They're more than a good tag team,
Yeah.
They can even do like the promos and everything as well. Like they're all rounders,
It'd be so funny once they come back and the tag division's all stacked up again, and you're like, when are they going to win the titles again? They never win.
I don't know. I feel like if they came back, if they like hit the ground running, I think they'd be closer up. They'd be higher up the list. I think at least now. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Kingdom's here now too, so.
You're in the Kingdom, man.
I love the Kingdom. I don't know if you could.
Every one of us like the Kingdom on this screen, but Manny's he's an animal,
They seem to have their direction, and it's not directly to the tag team division, so we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, let's talk about this Wembley main event. We spoke about it yesterday about the possibility of MJF and Adam Cole main event in Wembley. We all pretty much predicted that it was going to happen, but just whether or not it'd be in the main event. But it seemed pretty clear to me from MJF that this is going to be in the main event. But MJF stuck to his word. Granted Adam Cole a world title match. He didn't backtrack on his word or anything like that. There was a few nice moments in this. MJF starts the thing off with, being really vulnerable, talking about, his ADD and a few other things he struggled with as growing up. He's bullying and just, I think the point of this pretty clearly was, MJF just displaying vulnerability, even pretty much said as much. He was never vulnerable with people because, he was scared of whatever rejection. yeah, that was the big thing. Really scared of rejection. He was just terrified of it, etc., etc. So these are the walls that he put up. And again, he reminisced about but he remembers like when he was bullied as a kid, etc., etc. But the fans have shown him the light. The fans have shown him the light, and he's growing as a person. Cole comes out, tells him that he's proud of him, and it's all very nice. It's all very nice, and they're setting up to the point where MJF he comes through on his word. He says to Cole he's going to give him the match. And yeah, man, we got a main event for Wembley, Joe. It was very wholesome stuff. It does seem like there was a couple little Easter eggs in there, to kind of suspect who may turn, who may not turn. But yeah, let's get into it, Hulbert. What did you think of it?
Really, really good segment. MJF has been the center of a lot of kind of debate on these shows through the months, and I guess over a year now. But look, it has to be said. There's no point dressing up any differently. He's really special. He's a really special pro wrestler, and I think it's obvious before this segment, but after this segment, it's completely undeniable. He should be AEW's top babyface.
Yeah.
He can break every rule in the unofficial pro wrestling rule book, and it has no negative effect. There was so much talk when this angle started about, him, the world's champion, doing silly stuff and comedy, and looking at what it's done to business metrics is completely at odds with the belief that that's supposed to undercut the drawing power of a guy like MJF.
Mm-hmm.
He's very special in that regard. I'm not going to do the Rock comparison, but that's the thing that people used to talk about with Rock, right? He could do shit no one else could get away with doing what he would do. He would tear down every heel, be a complete dick, and remain babyface and the biggest draw in the business. I'm not doing a one-to-one comparison. What I'm saying is Max is showing those same traits, and he's unbelievable, man. I mean, he's very, very special. And so this dynamic is working on a level that none of us could have foreseen. I was intrigued by the can they coexist idea, and none of us shot it down immediately, but none of us could have saw this. It's like a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
It's red hot. It's one of the hottest things they've had, and I like the direction of keeping it alive as we head to Wembley and having that idea of who does the unthinkable, who turns on the other at Wembley Stadium. There was a moment, to your point, Monty, about a kind of Easter egg. I am slightly concerned, just as someone who watches the show, MJF willing Cole to sign the contract, I really hope isn't a setup for his turn.
Yeah.
I think it would be a terrible mistake to turn MJF back heel at this point. They're ready to cheer him. I'm sure he loves being a heel, but they got to cheer him. So.
I thought you were talking about the other Easter egg that happened when Adam Cole hugged Roddy. Not Roddy, MJF, yeah. So.
Yeah. No, both. And some people focused on that one. I was talking to Monty about this earlier. The one that concerned me was the way that Max was chanting, sign the contract, and kind of willing him to do it and told him to read it, right? I was like, oh no, that could be an issue. But I love the segment. So.
Yeah, and then we still confident, Charlie, that it's going to be Cole turning.
Yeah.
We got the backstab hug, similar to what he did with Roddy.
In
NXT, man. We'll get to Roddy's reaction to all this very shortly. But yeah, Charlie, what did you think? What did you like? What didn't you like?
I said it yesterday. If Max goes through with his offer to Adam Cole for the match, then I think it cements the fact that Cole's the one turning, and I still think that, because the way that these two are, the crowd started chanting "read the contract," and neither of them acknowledged it, and they very much lean into what the crowd go with. So the fact that Cole didn't acknowledge it, I'm like, So there's something to that, I think, with these guys. They're very smart with the way they handle their presence in front of the crowd. So I think it's Cole turning. But the segment as a whole, I really liked it. I like the way that MJF was so vulnerable in the beginning, and then he just made the point of being like, well, yeah, I'm still a scumbag, but I feel like I can be real about it now. It was all very enjoyable. I really liked the segment. I thought they hit it out of the park, to be honest.
Well, Manny's disappeared, so he clearly hated it. Moving on. But yeah, look, anyway, actually, just hold on. Go on, man. Go on. He's back.
Bro, man, I'm really pumped up for this Undisputed Kingdom stuff, man. Right?
I was about to get there. You know, I was going. Hold on. Put the brakes on, man. Put the brakes on. You have anything to add? Hold on. Don't disappear.
Wait, what happened?
Just hold on. Don't disappear. Just wait there. Do you have anything to add about the actual MJF and Adam Cole segment?
Not really.
Okay. Well, following the segment, MJF and Adam Cole, of course, you know, they even told each other that they loved each other. You know, it was wholesome stuff, wholesome pro wrestling, you know. And Roddy Strong watching this in the back, he just could not stomach this shit, you know. He was disgusted. He was outraged. He literally threw a tantrum on live television. He was throwing things around. He was making noises. He was just
screaming,
losing
crying, throwing up. It was
it.
incredible.
He was just look at Manny's picture, but like he was just not happy at all. Like I know he's been a bit displeased and hesitant about this whole thing, but last night was something else, you know. Then the Kingdom come in, you know. Can't remember exactly the line that dropped on him, but it was something, you know. It was a little hint.
He was reading about everybody recently.
Oh, there you go.
They said something like typical Adam Cole, always turning on his real friends or forgetting who his real friends are.
Well, there you go. And, you know, as those who know Adam Cole's Ring of Honor run, you know, Kingdom, Adam Cole, they, you know, they got some history together, you know. Of course, Roddy, most people know about the history of Roddy, you know. You'd be quite surprising at this point of an AEW fan to not be at least somewhat familiar with the history of Roddy Strong and Adam Cole. But, yeah, man. Manny, you can now talk about the Kingdom freely.
Let me tell you guys something, man. If we get a faction of Roddy, Kyle, and the Kingdom, fuck, man, I might die and go to heaven, bro. This is what I'm talking about. This is for the real. I was gonna say real shitters, but I was gonna say for the real. This is it, man. This is gonna be a faction of badasses. I don't know who's gonna cut promos for them, but
Maria, right? Surely Maria's gonna come back around for this deal.
Oh, yeah, I forgot she was there.
Maria, she's the valet of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
she'll do it for a while till Adam Cole eventually actually turns.
Honestly, even keeping Maria in the act then would be fucking awesome. To be fair.
Yeah, I think they should anyways. She cracks me up.
She's so good. Yeah. The last week, then at that Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and she was working the whole time. They didn't even have a camera on her. She was just working for the sake of doing it. God bless, real pro.
I wanted them to come with like the name, the Undisputed Kingdom, you know, and then Roddy's coming out like he's like the tribal chief, but instead of like the red thing he wears around it, he has like since he's from Florida, he has like a Cuban chain on, and he has like the pendant is like somebody doing a backbreaker. He comes out in Florida Gator, gear and all that. I think it'll rock. You know, this is the kind of stuff that we need to see. I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Speaking of Manny's excitement, this goes back to kind of earlier when we was talking about the, the things wrestlers should or should not put themselves through for the love of the game. Showtime Spurs $2 says the elite are just normal men, Manny. You know, they're not superheroes. These wrestlers, you know, they're hurt like you and I. You know.
Look, man, when you're a GOAT wrestler, like when you're GOATs at something, you gotta be fucking weird or crazy. Look at Michael Jordan, bro. He's fucking crazy. Look at LeBron James is weird, bro. And when you're weird, when you're great, you're just on a whole nother level. You just can't be a normal guy. We're not supposed to be able to just to like.
This is some real shit. Keep going, Manny.
Yeah,
keep going.
Talk
to him.
I shouldn't like for my footballers out there. I shouldn't be able to like have the same life as like Messi or whatever. You know, like I shouldn't be able to fathom what they do. You know.
He said, "For my footballers out there." Fucking Messi just pulled over because he got the flagship on. Well, hold on a second. Manny's talking to me. This guy.
Manny wants to buy into superhero athletes, man, and
it's real shit.
You know, he gives some examples. You know, LeBron, Messi.
Like look for CM Punk, for example. He's fucking crazy. This is one of the best wrestlers of all time. You talk shit, he just punch you in the face, like Michael Jordan did to Steve Kerr. LeBron James did it with freaking Mike Sprosa. I mean, this is just what happens, bro. It's like when you shouldn't be able to talk to normal people like that,
Oh, it is Manny the Hooper, man. Tengu Ray, $5. I appreciate you very much. Going to be flying from New Jersey to London for All In. How much singing practice will I need before the show? Honestly, quite a lot. Because it still catches me off guard.
Crowds,
yeah.
They turn. It's not really chants. It's just songs. They will sing anything, whatever's happening in the ring. It's great.
Yeah, we
put our you have a lot of water. You don't want to have a dry throat out there.
It gets rough.
Make sure you bring your portable phone charger, your water, all that sort of stuff.
Clear your album out on your phone because you're going to take videos and you don't want to be stuck where you're like 4 hours into the show and it's hitting the main event and it's like low storage. It's like, oh shit, I've got to delete like 7 apps.
Take it from the real pro, like Charlie. Yes. Real pro.
Yeah, make sure you come with the soccer jersey, just stuff like that.
Yeah, well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Depends what team.
Yeah.
The thing,
Bro's gonna roll into Wembley with a Man United fucking shirt on.
Oh my God.
Well, I was thinking maybe like the Bullet Club soccer jersey or like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say it still kind of takes me back. Like when we was at Money in the Bank, Joe, like they were coming up with songs for everything. Like the Cody Rhodes one, it was a good time, man. I'm sure you would have a good time. Tengu Ray.
Safe journeys.
Yeah, safe journeys, man. Safe journeys. It's gonna be a big one. And we got a few other super chats. Logan, the German Shepherd, 199. I should replace TK for on-air announcements. I mean, they're not quite as bad as they used to be, but he's still no pro, TK, he wants to announce his stuff, It seems, he wants to go out there and kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't quite know how to put it.
None of it's that complex. He just wants to say it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He wants to own it.
I was going to put it a bit more.
I thought you were. Yeah.
Wait, one more thing on this great stuff, man. Matt Jackson shows hints of being an asshole, bro. I know he has it, and I don't know why he puts up this act of, being a good guy, bro. I know.
I don't really think he does.
I don't think he does.
I don't know.
It's the fans, man. I'm telling you, Matt Jackson necessarily. I guess there's always going to be conspiracies from people about this is what the books and the elite feed to this reporter and that reporter, and this is the perception they're trying, create with the narratives that the friends put out, etc., etc. But Matt Jackson himself, especially Matt, probably more so than Nick, well, definitely more so than Nick. He don't try and be he's a dick,
That's what I'm saying. And then you got fucking Nick over there. They say don't do drugs. When I look at Nick, I don't believe it. I said, there's no way this guy's not high right now. Every time I see him.
It's incredible.
The fact that you led into this with, I want to say something else about this great stuff. Is fucking awesome.
Also, I have something related to travel, which is completely irrelevant to our podcast, but I've just remembered it. If you're traveling internationally, there's this app called Airalo, and you can buy international data for really cheap, and you don't have to get an external SIM or anything. You can just put it straight onto your phone, and it's fantastic. And I discovered it for my trip to Toronto, and it's really cheap. So,
can you use discount code WP?
Because I just thought about it, and I was just like, I'll forget to talk about this. So
we need to get a link.
Someone told me about it. And then...
While we're plugging stuff, I guess,
What the fuck?
I was just trying to give some help for the.
If you're gonna do a lot of walking in the UK, these shoes, man, I just got these. Fucking comfortable as shit.
I'm happy to hear it, man. But anyway, moving on from the ads. Logan, the German Shepherd again. Takeshita is a beast. Me, Takeshita, Gunther equals the GOAT trio. I tend to agree. And we've got another super chat, but we'll save it as it will be. It will be more relevant later when we get to it. But yeah, MJF, Adam Cole in the main event. We did mention, yesterday that we are all kind of hoping for FTR versus the Bucks at Wembley. So, we was kind of wondering if MJF and Adam Cole are going to have to follow that, but the show's going to be long enough. You would at least expect and hope that they can, if they are going to run back FTR versus Bucks, so that's going to be like, you can't follow that with pretty much anything that we've heard of being on the horizon, So yeah, you would have to either open it, put it in like the middle to break up the show, or or main event with it. But it seems like MJF and Adam Cole are. That's the main event. It's going to be big time. I think the feud is only just going to grow and grow from here. A lot of growing room with this, it seems, and it's already one of the hottest things they've done, maybe ever, to be honest. At least for a minute, and strength to strength. Do we all think MJF is coming out on top at Wembley at this current moment?
I'm not totally convinced, no, because
We still got time.
So when you say, you mean he's leaving with the belt, right? To be clear, yeah. I'm not convinced, because if Cole's turning, it kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels like that's got to be in play, right? Especially if there's a big reveal with the faction that Manny was just talking about, which I'm not going to say the name of because it might get him too excited again. But I mean, it feels like it could be the finish. I don't know.
It could be.
They could do that, or they could do MJF still using like the tactic he uses to win, and then that being what triggers Cole to eventually turn on him. I don't know.
What if they just redo like the thing, where Adam Cole debuted at NXT when they attacked Drew Galloway or whatever?
Yeah.
They just do that, but they just turn on MJF or whatever,
It'll be interesting. There's definitely a few ways they can execute it. Hopefully they don't do. There's a few ways they can execute it, which I think can be very well done as well.
Mm.
It's not like, there's only 2 ways to do it and the rest all are terrible. I think this is one of those stories where you can kind of go a few different ways with it when it comes to executing the turn. I've only grew more and more bullish that Adam Cole has to be the one that does the turn. But outside of that, I think there's a few different creative ways Adam Cole can do that. So,
especially because you got, Chicago has to be in mind too, right? You got a pay-per-view the next weekend. It's like, that's pivotal to this, because it's probably easier to follow up with a second MJF main event than it is a Cole one. I think it's fair to say. So that's part of this too. MJF is probably the favorite for that reason.
But if you do Adam Cole turns, like, how do you set that up? Because I guess like he's only lost to once, they tied him once, so I don't really know how you go on from there.
Yeah,
my immediate kind of guess was, and it's not something that I've kind of been crafting. It's not like a pitch I've sat down with for too long, but just the idea of MJF beats Adam Cole, just about. Somewhere where Adam Cole can feel slighted, but MJF don't actually do anything like knowingly wrong. I don't know. It's because there's so many moving pieces at the moment as well, especially with outside people. But yeah, I'd have MJF win the main event, and I'd do the big turn like after. Like they're about to we're still friends. Like good match. Good game, sort of thing, and then. Boom. Adam Cole with Roddy, Adam Cole by himself, Adam Cole with the Kingdom, Adam Cole with Roddy and the Kingdom, Adam Cole with Kyle O'Reilly and Roddy, Adam Cole, like I said, there's multiple ways you can go about it,
What if he just leaves with everybody?
That was one of the things I suggested, all of them,
I'm convinced now. If it isn't Adam Cole turning, then I think they just fucked up this whole thing. Because I'm not interested in I'm not interested in seeing MJF be a heel ever again. I mean,
again, but yeah, not in the near future. Yeah, I get you, man. Ever again's a little much, man. He's like 26 years old, bro.
Well, look, man. If I never see him cut like a You People or like City promo again, I'm good, bro. I just rather him, just come and rile up the crowd and just tell us sad stories,
I think it's fair to say that many of us are very much over the you pause this damn city promos that he's doing when he's kind of just doing his week to week heel shtick, Trust the Process 499 says, do you think Tony will want to end All In on a happy celebrity note? If so, would cross off any MJF heel turn and win? I think you'd want to end it on a moment, whether that's like for a babyface or a heel, like a really substantial moment. Like I think that moment that I just kind of loosely laid out, I think that's something that like fans would remember, like for a very long time. A big, huge, heartbreaking turn that no one, people even expecting, and that's definitely a way to close a pay-per-view,
Tony's pretty big on the kind of tragedy too at the end of the show too.
Yeah,
so
man.
Process, I guess you have been watching Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor is like a horror film.
Many don't even watch Ring of Honor.
The pay-per-views are incredible. The one at WrestleMania. Now, to be clear, before I go any further, I actually am also pop for the thing where the babyface just fouls. I think it's actually compelling.
There is definitely something to be said.
The WrestleMania weekend show was incredible in that regard. It was like, my God, people walking out crying.
Sometimes your heroes don't win. I mean, I watch it every time I see ROH pay-per-view. They don't win. It's just like Batman too, like the new Batman.
Oh, Claudio
Batman
wins, man.
Huh?
Claudio wins quite a lot.
Well, Claudio is neither a hero nor a villain. He's just someone we used to.
He's your hero, though.
Yeah.
Just accepts it. Like, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Tony, he is fun. He just likes. I think it's just pretty fair to say whether it's tragic or, the epic win for the babyface. I think he just likes to end his babyfaces. No, end his babyfaces. End his pay-per-views on a dramatic note. Yes. And I think, like I said, the kind of thing that I kind of laid out, I think is something that would be a very historic AEW moment. When Adam Cole turned on MJF in Wembley, and he did like the double turn at Wembley. It's just there's a lot there.
To the point though, I do think it is worth. You definitely shouldn't write off the idea of that Max wins and Cole isn't aware of what happened. Maybe Max took a shortcut about Cole knowing, or perhaps. And they close that show with a hug, and they do a triumphant close because, in fairness,
absolutely.
It is a special show, right? I mean, it's a different kind of show, so I could see that for sure.
Well, okay, so if Adam Cole turns, how would you feel as if he's the top heel of the promotion? Because I feel like a lot of people won't like him as the top heel of the promotion.
None of these things operate in a vacuum. Like if you'd have told me that 6 months ago, I'd be like, absolutely not. But he's part of the hottest angle in the promotion. And he should clearly be the heel in that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to roll with the momentum that's kind of that you emerges along the way. So I'm for it because of that.
Yeah, sometimes it's not like that black and white. Do you know what I mean? It's like, as you just said, it's the hottest angle in the promotion, and Cole obviously has played his part very well in it, and he is the heel. Whereas rather than looking at it, it's like this guy's number one, this guy's number two, this guy's number three. Do you know what I mean? It's just going with the storyline and letting that kind of be as big as it should be,
I tweeted this yesterday, but man, what a come up for Adam Cole, fucking, being in NXT, wrestling in small buildings, and then coming to AEW, stinking it up, but still being awesome. Like, getting this totally accomplished, and, being hurt with concussions, and then, having one bad performance and then turning it around, and then being a part of the hottest angle and main eventing the biggest show ever in wrestling history is, man, what a roller coaster for him.
Yeah,
man, he's definitely on the upward trajectory at the moment, and this could very well be some of his. This probably will end up being his career's best work, which is saying something because he's done a lot and he's been around for a long time, and he's always been heavily featured in every promotion he's been in over the years. One of the things he was saying when he was coming up to his first title shot in AEW, he's been world champion in every promotion he's been in because he's always been a big player. So
we should have known he was main eventing when he was the one that announced. It's kind of funny because he's the one that announced Wembley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Folks, I have news regarding Ring of Honor. I have a match announcement.
Oh no!
In 2 weeks, Ring of Honor Television will feature the following tag match. The Boys versus Samoa Joe and Stokely Hathaway Folks, we're back in business.
Man, that writer strike's kicking his ass, man. You know, if
What?
The Boys versus Samoa Joe and Stokely.
I heard that. It's just Manny's reaction. It kind of really threw me off for a moment, you know.
Are you sure you heard it though?
I did. I'll have to.
Think about it for a minute.
I'll let it marinate.
Yeah. You do.
is this like when people are talking? Am I gonna eventually look back in this and like when people said 205 Live was good and you never watched it? Is this what's gonna happen with Ring of Honor? People are gonna say Ring of Honor was really good.
Compared to current Ring of Honor, 205 Live then had the viewership of like fucking 1999 Raw. It's just crazy. But I will legitimately watch. Stokely halfway in a tag team match with Samoa Joe is like unironically enticing. I'll watch this.
Yeah, I can imagine it's absolutely also right up your alley, as we say over here.
That sounded insulting, but yes.
Yeah, it sounded very spiteful.
It did. It sounded dismissive. Speaking of insulting.
Margaret, $4.99. Appreciate it. Dominic, Theory, Logan, and Joe Hulbert. The 4 best wrestlers under 30. 4 young men with great physiques and great on the mic. Joe, you make me proud.
Physiques is unnecessary. It's not this.
It's a compliment, Joe.
Direction. But just by bringing it up, it's immediately insulting without intending to be. You know, it's tough.
That's how you take it. That's how you take it.
I mean, it's just all I wanted to do was share an exciting, dynamic match announcement, and it feels like the tide has turned. Monty, you seem upset about this news. Are you not excited about Stokely halfway? Do you want to resubscribe? Do you want
I'm pretty indifferent. I'll be honest, I'm pretty indifferent.
I noticed, yeah.
Shout out Stokely though.
Yeah, no, I'm just messing around.
Shout out.
Do you have any hot take on the ESPN list, Monty?
What ESPN list?
That was what that was referenced to. The comment from Margaret Thatcher. There was
I've not seen it.
Okay, so there was the 30 best wrestlers under 30, and Austin Theory was in at 3. So, yeah, that bad.
Know your audience, man. You're putting that out on the internet. That's crazy.
Oh, it was Mark Raimondi too, who's great, but he got the shit kicked out of him. Bless his
man.
You gotta be careful when you go into that list direction. You gotta really know. I don't know enough back raps to do one of those lists. You
just gotta know. No, but you gotta know perceptions. So I think I could put together a list that wouldn't get too many people like absolutely disgusting.
Only one way to find out.
The official WrestlePurists 30 under 30.
It feels like I'm not an expert on the scene at all, but it feels like a lot of the 30 would be Joshi talent because almost every top Joshi talent appears to be under 30, from my broad understanding.
Yeah, a lot of them won.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing like MJF was like number 1.
I think
he was. Yeah.
Yeah, because like him not being number, it's like the idea of pretty much anyone above him, like in an ESPN article as well, sounds like pretty insane.
Yeah, no, he was number 1. He was number 1. I mean,
but now I've not seen it. I'll check it out just to kind of pop myself.
Right now, I just saw a video of Aussie Open coming back from their match yesterday in Dynamite, and Kyle Fletcher kisses Tony Khan on the head.
God bless. Gordon Brown.
He's back.
$2. Appreciate you. Joe, ignore the Tory witch. You're a union man. You are a union man, aren't you, Joe?
I am. I actually have a comment to make for this. I'm not joking. 2 different people DM me about why I was dismissive of Gordon Brown yesterday. I have no conflict with Gordon Brown. Of all the Super Chat characters, he's clearly the one who is most fitting for my branding.
He's the least problematic, it seems.
He's
at least the least problematic, it seems.
What are his politics?
Manny, we don't go in that direction. Just know that it's the most fitting to the Bing Bong brand. That's what you need to know, Manny. But I was so dismissive yesterday because I was worn out and there was more political Super Chats. People messaged me and was like, wait, is it a shoot?
You got a power thing.
People thought it was a shoot. I was very befuddled by this. I didn't realize things I said on a wrestling podcast was taken seriously. So
Gordon Brown, he's all right around here, man.
He is.
Fun fact, not that fun, but just a fact.
Oh God!
My godmother was part of. She was MP at the time he was Prime Minister.
Fuck.
So what's MP?
A member of Parliament.
Oh. Oh wow, you come from a political family.
Not really. It's just my godmother, so it's not like I'm
Yeah.
not blood related to her. But she is clearly, you know. She's retired now. She just kind of she's got a nice schedule, you know, winding down.
Bless.
Works when she wants to.
This
Gets
is-
paid
I
very
mean-
handsomely when she does, you know.
Gordon must be
Wow,
sitting there
she-
after sending his super check, and I've got my money's worth on this. We got.
Wait, did she give speeches and all that, or what is she?
I don't think so. She's been pictured in a few newspapers, sat next to Gordon and Brown in like
Haven't we all?
one of us.
We've all been there, folks. We've all been there.
Gordon
It's true.
Brown, $2. Sorry for getting your heat, Joe.
It's true. Someone was actually concerned. They said, "Wait, is it a shoot?" I said, "No, it's not a fucking shoot."
But since well, it's not on topic anymore, but it was. $2. What's your old top 5 under 30? Is Jay White still under 30, or is he 30, 31
No,
now?
he's 30 now.
It's just hard.
MJF. That's
One
easy.
of my favourites.
We'll come up with 5 between us. And
I'll
try
say
and
Garcia.
agree somewhat.
Daniel Garcia.
Ospreay's 30, I think.
I thought he was still like 28, 29. I'm going to have to Google it. Hang on.
I'm way ahead of you. Will Ospreay is 30. Yes, turned 30 on the 7th of May.
Oh, shit.
Just missed it, Charlie. Just missed it. MJF is, of course, the easy one.
Yeah.
Who else we got?
Christ.
Harold's Cole Anderson nowadays. No, I'm putting Garcia forward.
Yeah. Let me have a. I need to check.
Manny,
the
this
age.
should be your thing, bro. You're the voice of the youth.
You want to easy? I don't want to kind of just
I take Kiyomiya.
Yeah, I was trying to think pure wise. Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley's like 26. Like,
Yeah.
She's a superstar, yeah.
insane.
Ilya Dragunov, that's another one. I forget he's not even.
I don't know. Would he be in my top 5?
You know, I want
He'd be
to.
Probably, yeah, he probably would, to be honest, yeah.
Yeah, sure, you guys.
Takeshita?
Yeah.
Takeshita's like 27, isn't it? Or something like
Gallows.
that.
How old is CM Punk?
He's just outside of that. Just a bit outside, man.
Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm. Tony Storm might be like...
She might just.
I know Jamie Hayter's in her 20s.
No, I think Tony
Bandido's
Storm-
in his 20s.
I think Tony Storm's like 27.
That's crazy. I feel like she's been around forever. That's incredible.
Then like Joshi talent, you've got like most of them. I know
Yeah.
Sayer's really young.
Yeah, Tony Storm's
Yeah,
27.
I got it. Yeah, let's go.
27 is
Wow.
When did she debut?
When she was
Been around
13.
for a minute, man. It's not like
Forever.
it's kind of crazy. Anyway, when was like the
Yeah.
Mae Young Classic? Or that was
Must be 5 years ago. It has to be.
yeah. Like
The day before, man.
she's been good for a while, then you know.
Yeah.
It's completely unrelated.
Bandito was
Yeah.
26.
There's quite a lot of names we just threw out there. So those are names that came to mind for me. And of course, there's a lot of Joshi and Puro talent. You know, you've got the Musketeers at the minute as well. Like, I think Yota Tsuji's like phenomenal. You know, the strides he's been able to make in the past few months. Shota Umino is really good as well.
Yes.
I'm not as big on Ren Narita.
Mm.
When I think if Yuya Uemura gets his, you know, if he comes back from excursion and you know, he gets kind of put on a platform similar to the Musketeers, I think he will show that he's absolutely right near the top. Then who else is there?
How old is Gabe Kidd?
Oh, he's
He must be
really
young
young.
for that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he's like 26 or something. I think.
I don't know if he's a top 5 candidate, but he's a very, very good worker for his age.
Tiffany Stratton's like.
Strat.
Yeah,
Watch
people
cast.
have said her in the chat, and it's like, everyone knows all of Tiffany Stratton, bro. But
Everyone knows.
It's like, yeah, everyone knows, you know.
Gordon Brown.
Gordon Brown knows that I love Tiffany Stratton, you know.
I wonder.
But it's like
Dinners.
Tiffany Stratton's really like she's phenomenal for how long she's been in the business, but it's not like I'm putting her next to like Rhea Ripley
Yeah.
and MJF and you know the names that we've Takeshita and those people that you know I can't put her next to those.
She's
names.
very much like the raw ingredients right now. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
she's great for how long she's been in the business.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Roxanne Perez is a great talent for how young she is.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times this is when they were making the list, they forgot how old Orange Cassidy was, and he snuck onto this list.
Probably not often because they probably do a Google search, but I can tell you often if you want.
Bro,
But yeah,
often-
I think we kind of like I feel like we covered the kind of a lot of the big hitters, except for you know I'm sure there's a few Joshi and New Japan talent that we kind of regrettably missed out on. But yeah, there's a lot of young talent, really strong young talent in wrestling these days, and a lot of young people getting themselves over as well. They're not just good for the sake of it, you know. But anyway, let's we was talking about Dynamite, wasn't we?
yeah, we are.
Yeah,
I think we finished, right? We covered everything.
We missed.
Nah,
quite a bit.
we've missed like two decent sized things, man. You know, with nowhere near finished, mate. The Elite, they had, they very much, you know, as soon as the graphic dropped earlier in the week or last week, you know, they're facing Team TNA, you know, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, big pops on Twitter, and I understood why, you know, a lot of people are into this. The idea of Jeff Jarrett and Kenny Omega doing the dance, you know, it's Satnam Singh getting in there with the Bucks, you know, there's a lot of pops in there. We was wondering though whether this would like lead to kind of more of a direction of where they'd be going for Wembley, which to be fair we didn't really get. But this was kind of like typical Elite fun, you know, like a trios match with you know with a bit of shtick involved. Kenny Omega at one point got Satnam Singh up for a one-winged angel. Unfortunately, he didn't get to hit it, but just the idea of that even being a possibility was incredible, you know. Jeff Jarrett and Omega, I think as Joe said on Twitter, they did the dance, man. You know, they were in there wrestling. This was fun. This was fun stuff. After the match, they kind of get on the mic and they kind of announce, you know, like as I'm sure you all know, we've re-signed with the Elite, and they kind of, you know, they get the pop out of that. Kenny Omega gets on the mic, says that we'll be seeing a lot more of them on Dynamite, Ring of Honor, Rampage, and heck, even Collision. But yeah, Charlie, in terms of direction for All In, we didn't really get much at all. But this was still, you know, feel good Elite stuff, you know.
Yes, always happy to see him. I will say with that promo, I was honestly kind of more surprised that he name dropped Ring of Honor than I was that he name dropped Collision. I was like, Ring of Honor, when are you going there? Like, I don't know, but I enjoyed this a lot. I was kind of like, I had my reactions to it because, again, I'm not sure this is the direction I would have taken the Elite this close to Wembley, but it is what it is, and it was fun. And the visual of Matt like telling Satnam to get in the ring and then immediately regretting it, it's just, it always pops me when he does that with the big guys. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I wish we did find out more about their Wembley stuff, but if the reports of them trying to figure out the FTR match is what stopped that, then it is what it is. The Dark Order didn't appear, so I'll take that as an absolute win.
Well, Charlie, the build's going to be on Collision if they're going to do that. They're not going to do this on Dynamite.
I watch it all, so I don't care. I watch it all.
That was so aggressive, man. Calm down.
You do get quite weirdly aggressive with the Collision stuff sometimes.
Wait, what? I didn't even.
Bro, you just punch your webcam. What the fuck's wrong with you? Calm down, bro. What you doing? You throw your headphones down. What the hell? It's just wrestling, bro. Take it easy.
Charlie,
notoriously known for not watching Collision.
Charlie, did you see Kenny almost pick up Satnam Singh? That was pretty crazy.
I did.
Charlie watches the matches.
after Kenny did that, I was just wondering how much does he like deadlift or whatever. I was like, man, how much does he squat?
Mine did a hooper, you know. But yeah, man, this was good times. Not really, not too much to say outside of that because, like I said, we didn't really get too much direction for Wembley or All Out or whatever they're going to be doing, you know, storyline wise going forwards. There is reports, of course, of you know, Young Bucks versus FTR being a plan that's being discussed for Wembley, and also on top of that, the Bucks wanting to get fully back into the tag team division after the big blow off with Blood and Guts and the Blackpool Combat Club the other week. So I guess that's something we can look forward to, but we didn't really get much of it there. Joe, what did you think of the party match? You know, the elite,
Honestly,
the elite being the elite, man.
And I don't know if this is probably a crazy take, but I can only be honest. This is my favorite from the whole show. This was joyous pro wrestling. This was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
It had such a celebratory feel, such a triumphant feel, especially with the backdrop of them re-signing. It actively felt like a celebration within the context of the show. Satnam, when they super kicked Satnam's legs out and he folded over.
Yeah.
I thought this was a hoot, man. I love this.
It was, man. It was.
They're so good at the party match and plugging this ridiculous act into it and doing the big Jarrett finish to close. Like, this was my favorite film. I thought this was just real fun. Really cool stuff.
Man, you looked like you was getting a little bit fired up, reminiscing about that match. What did I misread?
No, I just don't like the elite sign. The elite. No, I really want to see the. I really want to. I want to see Kenny Omega versus Jeff Jarrett. I think they would have a great match. From their little interactions yesterday, it was fucking awesome.
I'd like to see Kenny Omega hit that one-winged angel on Satnam Singh.
Oh,
I think he can do it, man. I think he can do it.
He took that buckshot Larry, and I jumped from my chair. I said, "Holy shit, he did it!" Because Hangman's a headhunter with that move, and Jeff Jarrett's a soldier, and he took it. So I'm proud for him.
It pops me every time they do these long finishes with Jarrett and then leave West to roll back in to get pinned. Every time it's funny. Jeff has been pinned like twice, I think, in the whole run. What a pro.
Real.
Incredible.
Very real.
Yeah, bro. They're throwing up Christian gang signs. That's what they do. The elite.
Yeah, man. So I was at Newton. $2. My boy Gravity is only 25. I mean, good for him. Youth on his side. Big Ben's $4.99. MJF wins. MJF Cole hug. Confetti. Suddenly lights go out and we see Gravity moonwalk into the ring to confront MJF setting up all out. Thoughts?
Gravity's got quite the fan base in our super chats.
I don't know. It's quite something, isn't it? I mean,
it's a good bit.
I guess. Match at 84, $1.99. Would a Punk Kenny match headline over MJF Cole? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It would, but I honestly, we were talking about this a little before we went on the air, but
needs more time.
Yeah, FTR Bucks is easy. The story's there. They're 1-1. So at this point, you can do other things with Kenny and Punk at Wembley. That deal is that's the culmination of a whole arc and block of TV. I feel like
I might be crazy for thinking this.
Yes, you are.
So yes, the big match is Kenny and Punk, and I would be super excited for it. But the fact that I think the bigger match is CMFTR versus the Elite, just in that trios match, which I think is, and I wish it's happening in the arena because I want to see what a full blown 80K, 90K people would react to this tag match and what they'd be chanting or what they would be. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would still be unbelievably pornographic,
I think I would be able to.
It's just optimally, it would be. You'd give it some more time and you'd do a full, that would have to be, I think, one of those feuds that engulfs the whole promotion. Full on. You don't have to do an invasion angle. But fucking, hey,
Can you imagine a Dynamite closing with CMFTR hitting the ring and if they had a fucking elite banner or some shit? This is the kind of graps I'm looking for.
Spray paint the X in the middle.
Yeah, something where you could have Excalibur or someone on commentary getting offended by it. There's some graps you could do with this. If you are confident going this direction and everyone's on board, this should be the biggest thing they ever do. So. Right. Business, big money.
They could it depends how much they want to go into it. They could, because there's levels they can take it to. Yeah. because obviously there's a very big like ideology with wrestling difference, you know,
There
and
is.
that can of course spin into many things, you know.
Imagine.
Dax out there with Cornet, you know.
Oh, hold on.
Imagine.
Went a step too far on this.
This is what I'm saying. There's levels, you know.
You know how Punk is doing his like Hogan shtick right now, Hollywood Hogan shtick, where he's just doing all this. Like, imagine like instead of like adding members to like CMFT or whatever, they just add people to Collision. That's like their version of the NWO. So we just get more wrestlers on Collision like that.
Just recruiting people over.
And he just wants to get the Kingdom in on the angle.
I see Hart say, "What about Hangman, bro? Hangman should be nowhere near this, man. You know, let's keep this to the."
I think they're just talking about what's Hangman gonna do at All In, because no one really talks about it.
I mean, Hangman.
Shingo's in town. Just do the Shingo match.
You have been petitioning for that one.
I have. It's one that I want to see.
I can co-sign that one. It's definitely something I'd be happy to see, you know. But it is interesting, isn't it? You know, not many people talking about Hangman's potential match at Wembley. You know,
it's not exciting. You know, it's not exciting. You know, there's no one interesting for him to wrestle. This.
You're such a
there's plenty of interesting people for him to wrestle. It's just a case that we're like 3 weeks away and you can't really build to any of those matches.
Look at Manny. Charlie, don't give him a real one. He doesn't deserve you explaining it to him. He doesn't want to listen. He's grinning ear to ear. He knows what he's doing. Look at him.
In an ideal world, I would have done the Jay White Hangman match at Wembley, but it is what it is.
What's Jay doing? That may be the match, you know. It's feasible. It's feasible.
What if we just Joe and Hangman?
Yeah. Oh, you threw me off, man. You know.
You're just thinking of sequences in your head, like what's gonna happen.
Yeah. But yeah, keep the super chats coming. We're gonna get back to them. We are going to get back to them, so keep them coming. But yeah, we spoke about the Elite. You know, they've re-signed. We spoke about that yesterday. We touched on it just now. Very much party feels, typical Elite stuff. Very much what people love about the Elite, especially their biggest fans. You know, and again, hopefully we get kind of more of an idea on screen of their direction to Wembley. You know, so looking forward to it. And I guess the only other thing to talk about is that will also spin into another conversation is Shida, Hikaru Shida, is the new AEW Women's Champion. She won in the main event versus Toni Storm to close AEW Dynamite 200. Definitely going to be one of the, another page in the history books for AEW. The match itself was, some people did criticize it. A lot of people enjoyed it. I thought the closing stretch was pretty strong. Not the worst showing from either woman, but not their greatest match of all time or anything. But I don't think they let anyone down per se. But yeah, this was more about the moment, the moment of Shida winning the title and just making that booking decision of putting the belt on Shida, And I guess I want to get kind of more into the reign that Shida could potentially have after. But as a match, it's the ad breaks, man. Like, yeah. I think Manny watches the Fight TV feed as well, but I know obviously me, Charlie, and Joe will watch the Fight TV feed, so we get to see in full screen like what they're doing in picture-in-picture. And there is many people in AEW who, unfortunately, are very guilty of when they know it's in picture-picture, they kind of, take a bit of a break, and they kind of take it off, and and that can kind of really halt the momentum, especially with like the live crowd and stuff, Yeah. And I did notice that I think this went through like 1 or 2 ad breaks, So
it was definitely one, yeah. There was
definitely at least one, and it was noticeable when we was in one, and there was definitely the match did have its lulls in that sense, where it just kind of everything kind of just slowed down. There weren't much happening. There weren't really much crowd engagement. It has to be said, me and Joe were talking about this earlier. Saraya on the outside, she was working those people, man. She was doing a thing. She was doing some good heel shit on the outside, working the crowd up, trying to get something out of them when they were going really quiet parts in the match. But yeah, man, Shida, new AEW Women's Champion. Charlie, do you believe this is a step in the right direction?
I think if they follow it up correctly and build the momentum and have her do some cool stuff, then yeah, like it does feel like they're hard resetting the division, and that can only be a good thing because it's been a bit all over the place, as we've talked about in previous weeks. So,
One way of putting it.
Yeah, the nice way of putting it.
Very polite and British of you. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm happy for Shida, man. It's one of those things to say like someone deserves this moment, but she really is one of those people that deserved a moment like this on like a show like this. So I think it was a really good choice of him.
Yeah, that sentiment of Shida deserving this sort of moment has definitely been echoed throughout the past few hours, because as many people already know, Shida was a very, very strong champion in the pandemic era of AEW, and her, kind of similar to the case people make for Drew McIntyre over in WWE, like he'd done a lot of his big reign on top, like in front of no fans, so it would be really nice for him, or Shida in this case, her, to get this moment that she got last night, and it seems that she's going to be going into Wembley as champion as well, which is in front of more fans than people 99% of wrestlers ever get to wrestle in front of. So this is really nice, feel good stuff. Manny, what do you make of the actual decision of Shida being made world champ? Because I know that you was a fan of Tony Storm's reign.
It was cool. I'm glad that she got the title.
Is that all?
Well, I mean,
nothing to say about Tony dropping the belt, or what? Why does he go so quiet when he talks?
what do you want to say?
Didn't even ask about the match, just the moment and what's going to happen next.
I don't know what's actually going to happen next. I mean, yeah, I don't even know. It's like usually you can tell what's going to happen with all the other divisions, but with the women, like the women's division, you literally have no idea what's going to happen. So, like I said, I don't know. I think it's really cool that Shida won yesterday.
Do you think it's
he's malfunctioning? You ask him about women's wrestling, he just breaks.
It's crazy. Look at him. Look at the way his shoulders start shifting. What did you think of the match, man?
I said it sucked, bro. I mean, I don't know.
How much of it did you watch?
I saw okay, I'll say what did I say. But I saw like the first 5
12-minute match.
Huh?
It was like a 12-minute match.
Yeah, okay. I told him that I saw like the first 5 minutes and I realized, oh man, I thought they're not gonna go for like a cool epic like that, like a quick epic. I thought they were gonna go, so I said, fuck, I'm just gonna make some cereal or whatever. And I came back and Shida held the title up. So hopefully, they rebuild and come back stronger for this, because Shida's awesome, and she shouldn't it sucks that she's gonna have to recarry the division again like she did during the pandemic, but at least she's gonna do it in front of fans. So it's gonna roll.
Absolutely. Joe, of course, we spoke about the possibility yesterday. We on screen correctly predicted that Shida would come out on top with the belt.
Yep.
Charlie was wrong. Rob was wrong. But me and Hulbert, as always, we was right again. But yeah, man, what do you think of this booking decision and the match itself? If you want to touch on that,
the match was pretty good. They struggled for rhythm early, and they were struggling to find the kind of the right approach to a 12-minute title match, because the right way was honestly a shootout, I think, and just wrestling with big time urgency. And they didn't do that at the bell, and they it took them a while to get the people. Honestly, I know people hate interference and stuff. I thought all of the theatrics and shenanigans got the people really involved in the match. So I actually thought they worked in this occasion, to the point where by the time Shida won, it felt substantial and felt big, because it was easy to assume she was done on that final false finish. So in the end, they got their sound. I thought it was pretty good. As for the decision, I think it was necessary. Here's the deal: if your intention is to reset the division, there is no better way to do that than to signal to the audience, we're starting again. Okay, and Shida is the way to do that. It's not Toni Storm's fault. She's a victim of circumstance. It's hard to be sincerely super optimistic, because it feels like we've done this dance before in terms of we're starting again. But we can only judge that as it happens in the coming weeks and months. Like, the one thing I would say is, while we all know Shida's capable of having great matches, I hope they don't use Shida as champion as an excuse to just be like, well, we'll just book her in matches and it'll be fine. Because while that is true to an extent, she will generally have good matches. That is not going to solve the core problem of a lack of story focus and character focus. Like, so that's my one concern with Shida, which isn't her fault. And be clear, she's great. But my concern is that from the booking side of things, they just go, just match graphic for Shida, she'll deliver. Because she usually will. That doesn't mean that's the fix, you know what I'm saying? So I just hope they give her stuff to work with from a story perspective also.
Part of me feels bad for Toni Storm. I mean, I feel like she's had 2 title runs and both of them just kind of been cut from under her. Like, is that how you say it? Cut from underneath her? Yeah. So, I mean, I just don't know how she's had the belt twice and she just has any momentum where she's come out more hurt than before. And I don't know. I like her as a heel. I think it brings out her personality more, but I think it really hurt her matches, and I think that's why people were ready to take the belt off. Because the first time when she was a babyface, she was having incredible matches, and people were fighting every week to get her to be the world champ instead of no interim stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel it kind of sucks to be Toni Storm in this position because she was going to go into Wembley, the biggest show of the year, as a champion. Now she's not, and I wonder what she's going to do. Or I think she's going to be on the show because obviously she's from there or live there. So
she's not.
She's not from here, no.
Other side,
live there.
She worked the Indies.
Yeah, I mean, in NXT UK, etc. So.
Yeah,
I just because I thought she was going to be in a big spot. Now she's just going to be on the undercard. So.
No, I think I still think the direction will be. I think she'll be in some form of rematch. Ideally for me, I think it would be a singles match with Shida, just run it back. But I think there's a very, very strong possibility that we get some sort of like 4-way or something. Which I wouldn't be like mad at because at the end of the day, if like say Thunder Rosa's fit, you'd probably figure her into it somehow. So that would be like that's free, then Britt Baker, that would be interesting, but. We could, it wouldn't surprise me if we do see something like that. But
yeah,
kind of want to talk about the division. Obviously, Joe, you kind of touched on it with your thoughts and the fixes for it, and just kind of hoping because we've always said when the divisions came up, it's about focus. The wrestlers, they've got the talent there, they've got the pieces, they just need to put them together properly. They've got a couple of women that can cut promos. Granted, they haven't got loads, but there's not actually that many wrestlers in general that can cut like great promos week to week to week. In
fairness, Monty, to that point, and people in the chat rightly pointed out, Shida can talk, and beyond that, she has like a genuine cool factor. Shida, right? It's not like we're talking about someone who's just like a bell and that's it. Like Shida can cut promos and she has cool factor. So they have got some range in that division. I agree. Carry on.
Yeah, so they've got a very, very talented division in terms of in ring. They've got a fairly talented division in terms of like characters and mic work as well. So again, they've got the pieces there. They just need more focus. Maybe a few more, expert hands involved or something creatively. Just focus. That's always a word that comes up. Is focus. But yeah, if it seems like Charlie, it seems like it's going to be something involving Toni Storm for Shida at Wembley. But what are some sort of like matchups you want to see her have in this second running in front of fans this time as well?
I want her and Toni to have the rematch and to like hit more heights with it because I feel like there was definitely more they could have done with it. Other women I want to see Shida wrestle. I want to see her have another match with Riho. Like, I feel like that's a really obvious choice to go back to, but they're always going to have a good match. I know Chris Stat is currily TBS champion. That's another match that
she's back.
I would enjoy a lot. She is back, yeah. Willow.
Manny, no, we're not just moving on from that. What do you mean, bro? Come on. Manny's never beaten the allegations.
No, I know. No, that's not what I mean. I know that part. No, I know she's back. I was just messing around like you never see her.
They did an angle. You know what?
He came out on Collision
He
last.
was-
You don't-
I agree. But,
It weren't even Rampage. It was Collision.
I agree, but I think Manny was simply trying to dunk on creative rather than doing another ignoring women's division
Listen,
play.
Joe,
Right, Manny?
I think it's fair to say that Manny's
Hands
in
up,
no
folks.
position to walk those lines. You know, he can't walk those tight ropes. He hasn't got the reputation squeaky clean enough to do.
I
it,
agree.
you know?
I'm just.
You treat Collision like your A show and you don't even know what happens on it.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't watch the shows.
You know,
Um,
I just watch whatever CM Punk comes on after that. Life's a blur. I mean, I don't know what else happens.
Life's so bad, Jesus Christ.
it was something
Universe
else.
Below
Man.
is a really good show.
We need to really
Yeah.
develop this,
all
this
this
Collision.
negativity towards me about women's wrestling. I gave 5 stars to Willow and Athena.
That's it. Then that's job done, Manny. Don't worry about it.
Bro, that's the wrestling. That's the women's wrestling equivalent of I'm not racist. My mate's black. You know, like that's.
That's exactly.
The exact same thing, you know.
It's going to be 2030, and Manny's going to go, listen, that Athena Willow match, check the spreadsheet. I'm fucking full
Yeah,
five.
where's my girl Serena D, man? You know, she's fucking, she rocks, man. Where is she? I need answers.
I don't know. Maybe she comes back for Wembley.
Oh, now you're talking. You know, she dressed like Bret Hart. You know, there you go.
She just came up with Manny Broppy spreadsheet, but Athena and Shida is definitely something to explore once
She
the Ring
quote
of the Belt
tweeted.
is not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she
quote
did.
tweeted the tweet, and I almost passed out.
I mean,
that was a moment for me. You know,
if we I want to be careful here because we don't want to. I'm not trying to move past Shida's reign, but now that Willow didn't win it at Death Before Dishonor, it'd be something to be like, that could be where you end up. Willow could end up winning the belt from Athena in a year,
if you're a Brit,
Yeah.
you know, this is a good bit of British meme history. You know, Manny talking about women's wrestling. You know, quite the scene. You know.
I can have objective conversations about this stuff, just
I'd like to hope, considering you're on these podcasts with us, it's
not everything's a bit, not everything's life in bit. So there you go.
But yeah, man. Shida, I think I said yesterday. Joe mentioned as well. It's this does feel like it's going to be like a reset for the division. I've got absolutely no complaints about Hikaru Shida kind of leading that charge in the reset. And Toni Storm, she was more than solid in this reign. And as Joe said again, she's kind of been a victim of circumstance. So I do hope she is very heavily featured going forward, because again, as Joe said, this was kind of, there's no better way of signaling a big reset than doing something like what you've done last night. And again, Toni Storm was just kind of a victim of circumstance in that. Although her part in the division has actually been one of the actual highlights of it,
Yeah, but the thing is, I think Tony's actually been great within the Outcasts from a character and personality point of view, as Manny talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is perception is reality, and fair or unfair, the Outcasts have become the face of the frustration with this current version of the division, right? So it's like you have to kind of fresh lick of paint and start over, and that's not always fair to the people that are. That's just the way. I mean, there's 1,000,001 title changes that fit that bill through history. It just, as long as she's factored in moving forward, that's the best you can do.
A few people mentioning Jay Cargill in the chat.
Bro,
Jay Cargill versus Shida. Trust the process. Cody Willis says I miss Jade. Jade's a really interesting one because
man, just let Jade enjoy vacation.
We joked about it either yesterday or earlier in the week or last week. It's like, bro, fans were tweeting a lot, when you're coming back. No, please come back. Mm-hmm. And she just quote tweeting. I'm like, no, she's she seems at least at the time that she stepped away after she dropped the belt. She seemed pretty kind of over wrestling for the minute. Tony Khan was actually asked about by, I believe it was Mike Johnson in the PW Insider interview. I may be wrong, but it is definitely something Tony said recently. When he was asked about Jade, it wasn't kind of a thing where it was like, she'll be back soon, blah blah blah. It was like, you know, she took some time off, and we appreciate all her contributions and da 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 da. Like it was very
Man,
you
that would
know.
be that would be the craziest wrestling career ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Undefeated, lose once, get out of there.
18-month title reign. Did it, lost once, said, fuck this. I respect it. That's real graps. God bless.
Yeah.
Hell of a win-loss record.
Yeah, Jay Cargill, of course, huge star. Mentioned, I think, Trust the Process mentioned, like, you know, is she really not going to be on Wembley? It's like, at this point, I'm pretty confident that she won't, but you never know, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure if Jay Cargill fucking calls up Tony tomorrow, like, yo, get me in the mix. I'm ready, you know. That could definitely change because, of course, she's a big star. She's a great, you know, she's a great presence, and there's still loads of untapped potential with her. So,
For sure.
Yeah. Trust the Process says Jade is definitely a WWE tampering target. Yeah, probably. See how that one plays
It
out.
didn't seem like that was a. I could be completely wrong on this. I may be talking about that term. But Jade has kind of talked about it not being the best marriage, right? Her and WWE because
Yeah, no, she said like the scheduling that doesn't work for her, but you know that was a while ago she made those comments.
It was for sure.
I think.
Also, at the same time, we mentioned as well, it's like her and her husband, boyfriend. You know, like they're more than financially set, so it's not like she's doing this out of wanting to do it. So if she does do it, she's gonna have to again want to come back and do it. Not like I need to go back to work because she don't need to. You know.
Good luck to her, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You gonna say something, man? I feel like
I mean,
well.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't think we're gonna see Jade again. I mean, I'm pretty sure she just saw what happened during her title run, and it's not even worth it.
I think we will, man.
I hope we do.
From her, I understand her frustrations. Like, they didn't give a fuck about her title run when she had it. I mean, they didn't really do anything interesting. They didn't build anybody up, and then you see what happened to Chris Statlander. She beat her, and then after that, she isn't doing. She's not even on TV till like this week, and she's wrestling Mercedes Martinez, another wrestler that's not even on TV all the time. So I mean,
I would say, like, you know, obviously she needs to do what she wants to do, but as a fan, it would be a shame because I thought her work was actually progressing quite noticeably this year. The issue in the last block of her reign was it felt like creatively they'd kind of stopped caring about it, right? They were just waiting. Yeah. Like I remember there was a couple, the Battle of the Belts matches.
Yeah.
Do you remember it was Billy, and was the second one Sky?
Sky Blue as well, I think. Yeah.
And it was like noticeable. They had about 10 minutes, and both matches I thought came out pretty well. Obviously, relative. She's still like a baby in wrestling, so it's like I thought her work was getting there slowly but surely. But yeah, it's just a matter of none of the pieces ever came together at once, did they, with Jade? It was always like different parts of it.
Yeah.
The Stokely thing was promising, and that fell to the wayside. The baddies thing was pretty. It's tough. I don't know.
Interesting times, you know. But yeah, definitely an interesting time for the division. Of course, Jade is a huge star and would be a huge part of it if she does decide to come back. Other people waiting to come back would, of course, Thunder Rosa. That seems like that's getting closer and closer. It'd be really nice if she could make Wembley, you know. Her time out has been very interesting, especially like when she first went down and, you know, she didn't do the title match or whatever. And, you know, there was all like kind of, you know, even her co-workers and never mind the people on Twitter and stuff accusing her of, like, you know, not really being injured and she's just doing this for this reason or that reason. It's like, bro, she's still out. Like her back must have been in a really bad way. And she probably shouldn't have even gone as long as she did, you know, judging by how long she's been out for. Because I remember the talk was like, oh, she might be back around February. Probably it's August 4th. Well, it's August 4th in the UK. It's August 3rd for our US friends. You know, but, you know, she's back training, you know, and hopefully she's back soon because she should. Her comeback, I think, should be like presented like really like.
There's some business to be done there.
Yeah. That should be presented in a really big way, you know, because, you know, in kayfabe and on screen, she's like, you know, she's fucking like she is like she is the women's division as much as pretty much Britt Baker is in that sense. You know what I mean? Like she's the yin to her yang. Do you know what I mean? Like she's that's the rivalry of the division. You know what I mean? Historically, anyway.
Absolutely. A minute ago, you used the word we're talking about, Jay. You said she's capable. Thunder Rosa is an extreme example of that. Thunder Rosa's best is phenomenal. Unfortunately, it became few and far between by the end of her run, right? She became increasingly inconsistent. And hopefully, she's feeling better physically and some things are kind of figured out internally. She should be a player in that division. She's very, very capable of being a player. She's done it before. So hopefully, it works out.
I got Thunder Rosa at that, man. That's
Me
like,
too.
you know, as you guys can probably tell, I've brought her up a couple of times. You know what I mean, unprompted. But I think she's great, man.
She's relevant to it, man. She was the champ.
And as I kind of touched on, I think people kind of unfairly were pretty brutal perception-wise towards last year. One of those. I was going to say one of those people definitely not on screen, giggling away now. You know. But yeah, man, Shida. Hopefully, she can kind of lead this division, or at least be the champion of a division that is on an upward trajectory. Because this did feel like a signal, and they've, like I've mentioned multiple times already, they've got the pieces. You know, they have got the pieces there. No one can say, "Oh, they haven't got enough good women. They ain't got enough good workers. They ain't got enough of these." Like, they've got the pieces there, bro. You know. Same with WWE, like that's a whole other conversation, especially with like the SummerSlam card changes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But both companies, both top 2 US companies, have great women's talent. You know, fuck, even Impact, they've got like really good women on their roster. You know what I mean? Trinity is the current Knockouts champion, for fuck's sake. Like, they've got strong women there. There's more than enough strong US women's talent out there signed to companies that companies are just not really doing justice by at the moment. So I hope that changes industry wide, not just in AEW, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Go women.
Yes.
Man,
No, I'm not gonna say
your thoughts.
You said that.
What are you gonna say? The fuck?
I was gonna say. I mean, I was just gonna critique Anna Jay and Sky Blue matches.
Why?
I was gonna say, how many times have we seen that match? I mean, fuck. I feel like I've seen that match like 100 times.
All right, man. Anyway,
Okay.
again, go women. You have to call it cleanse the palate after that. Anyway, well, here we go. Here we go again. Willie 499. Shida was uncharacteristically unable to meet the moment last night. Unfortunate. Also, who you got for the Real World's title on Saturday? Paul or Diaz? I'm going for Diaz very unconfidently because I feel like that's the real thing to do. You know,
Diaz is the definition of I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, but I'm not predicting Jake Paul to beat. It's like the Anderson Silva fight, bro. Like, I backed Silva when really, in my heart of hearts, I knew which way that was going to go. Like,
I would love to be wrong, but I think Nate's going to get the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah,
bro.
Nate has that face and like demeanor, like he doesn't give a fuck, man. He's just here for the payday.
He looks so washed against Tony too. I mean, they both did. It was very sad. I don't know. I think he's finished. I don't think it's going to go well, but he's going to get paid. So God bless.
Nick Diaz will hopefully be on screen somewhere. You know, and that's always been a pop for me over the years. You know, Cody Willis 199. Appreciate it very much. Stoked for Fed Dead. Great show over at Late Night Green. Will Monty be making a run in? Depends what day it is, and if I get the invite from the hall.
It's in about 40 minutes, won't it?
Maybe. You know, I might pop in. I'll be in the live chat at the very least. You know. Trust the process. 34 199. Punk White starts freeway for Punk's title. Oh.
I think there's a big Samoan man who's going to be involved in this picture, but I don't want to.
I just prefer singles matches, man.
Yeah.
I'm a simple man. 1-on-1 for the gold. You know.
Yeah.
That's easy. Yuzura Hart, $5. Appreciate you as always. Does anyone know what they do with Hangman at Wembley? He has to be on the card, but it seems like Bucks in the tag and Kenny. Yeah, we've already kind of spoke about it. Obviously, this was from earlier, this super chat, but Charlie's, of course, she wants to see the Shingo match. I very much co-sign that, but Hangman's one of those, you know, he's just one of those wrestlers that you can pair with anyone who's at a certain level in ring, and that's good enough for a pay-per-view. You know, it's I don't know if he's going to have anything super story related going in, because if we do get Bucks versus FTR, if we do get Takeshita versus Kenny, that kind of, unfortunately, is Hangman as kind of like the spare man, but you can kind of see a silver lining on that, as you know, he can kind of wrestle someone like Shingo, and
Yeah.
he can just get away with doing that, you know. We'll see.
Ishii's in town too, right? I don't know. Have Ishii and Hanger ever worked? Did they work when he was in Japan for that stretch, Hangman? I wonder. I completely forget who he wrestled and who he didn't wrestle in that run. I wasn't watching at the time. Ibu says Pac. Jenny says Claudio. It's interesting. I mean, there's definitely some guys who are going to be in a similar spot, I think it's fair to say, right? In terms of kind of outside of those signature matches. So I think the big thing with Hangman is a win in a match that can rock. Kind of like the,
you know who else is in town that he's had a match with on Dynamite?
Who?
David Finlay.
Oh, no. Come on, I really didn't. It's just,
I thought you were going to say Shida, but
No, he is also in town.
he is in town. Yeah,
was
he's
that
on
match
road.
good when David Finlay wrestled Hangman? Was that good? Because I have no memory of this match.
It was like three stars. It wasn't great.
I remember being like, why a lot, you know, like.
I don't. Did you guys? I put this in the private chat. But did you guys see Lufisto's tweet thread?
Yeah, I just read it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's that's crazy, bro. I mean, it's just what we're talking about right now.
I'm being cooked in the live chat.
It's not a very good look.
Where is he? I'm looking for like an old conversation.
We had about Dave Finlay. When was this match?
Sometime in June last year.
Yeah, it was on the.
It was on the same. It was on the same show as Thunder Rosa versus Marina Shafir.
Real barrel of laughter that one must have been.
Funny as fuck.
Manny, are we going to talk about these? I don't know what the tweets are. Can we? Are these podcast conversations?
I mean, I can read you the thread she said.
No, I can't. Manny's reading.
I can't. I'm dyslexic. I don't know if you want me to be the one to read it.
I'll read it.
I appreciate it, Manny. Thank you, mate.
I think we had a super chat about it.
Okay, well. At Lufisto. Here we go. Had 1 hour phone call with a current AEW talent. The woman who actually addressed the problems I did today were the ones sent home by Tony Khan. There was a meeting to shoot on Thunder Rosa that Khan attended. Before leaving, he reminded them that ... their segments were the lowest. Next tweet was, when some guys arranged a meeting to talk about Baker's crew, one of them ran to Britt to let her know. The girls that wanted to address the problem were the ones punished. Things didn't get better, they got worse. The legitimate wrestlers believe Tony doesn't give a damn about women's wrestling and feel like they are going back to the Divas era. Ask me who the fuck I am. Tell me I'm irrelevant and that I'm doing this for attention. Call me a liar. Tell me to kill myself. You keep on closing your eyes and supporting human beings with shitty behaviour. Read the messages of support, and especially this phone call I received from AEW employees. This nobody did the right thing.
Wow.
She's definitely had quite a lot to say recently, and she's It's very interesting because, of course, it's been something that she's clearly been bottling in for a minute, or unless it's something that went under the radar that she's talked about on podcasts or something in the past, and we've kind of just missed it. I know that she's kind of hinted at things, but in terms of like coming out in the way that she has over like the past week, clearly got quite a lot of grievances, you know. Which, after our long conversation about the potential of the AEW women's division going on an upward trajectory, things like this, of course, will be a stumbling block if, you know, the locker room is as kind of toxic as it is being portrayed by Lufisto. And obviously, she's got first-hand experience, so who are any of us to tell her that it's, you know, exaggerated, not true, or any of those things that I'm sure a lot of annoying people on Twitter and social media have been doing to her. So, you know, I hope it hasn't been too much of a backlash on her, because she's just, you know, she's just recounting her personal experience in the company. Do you know what I mean?
Certainly.
And I don't want it to be another thing like with Big Swole, You know, she just recounted her personal experience and how she personally felt about the running of, again, the women's division. And the reaction from a lot of the AEW faithful towards her was actually quite disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of it was bad faith. A lot of it was just kind of being honest, you know. But, you know, hopefully that it doesn't spiral into something like that with Lufisto as well, because that would be really unfortunate. But, yeah, man. Women's locker room politics in AEW, it's nothing new, Charlie.
It's not, no. We hear about this sort of stuff too much, and I just hope it gets handled in a productive way, honestly. I don't really want to hear about it anymore, to be honest.
Yeah. I have to say, this is just a tweet, and we haven't heard other sides of that story, but there was a meeting to shoot on Thunder Rose that Khan attended is an insane sentence that needs to be delved in deeper, because that is, I mean, that's basically unthinkable, if we're being completely honest about it. It's again, there may be a million more things to the story. That may be a very unfair way of framing it. We don't know. But just on the surface, that's like,
it's a hell of an allegation, you know.
It's very serious.
For everybody's sakes in this, I really hope that he doesn't respond on social media like he did with Big Swole, because
I can't. That's what I mean, bro. I'm not trying to see any of that shit.
Yeah.
You know? Because I don't think that was handled very well, and it very much like like when Tony tweeted that about Big Swole, it very much validated like a lot of like what that unfortunate side of the AEW fan base were like spewing out at that time. Do you know what I mean? When Big Tony Khan comes out and was like, "Oh well, her wrestling weren't good enough," it's just like fuck. Like, but yeah, man.
And look, I've been saying for a long since like AEW started, like I really don't think he cares about women's wrestling, and then the fact that somebody said it, and then there's people in the locker room that think that too. I mean, I just don't really know where it goes from there, because I feel like it was pretty obvious, and I just don't know how do you improve something like that when the guy in charge doesn't really give a fuck about it. So I mean,
that's that was the elephant in the room earlier, right? We all kind of referenced it. It's like we all think the world of Shida, but it's not about who's holding the belt. It's the approach to the whole project in general, right? To your point, Mary. So
and then I honestly, I said it from the beginning. I really feel like he just did it because he created this division, not because he wanted to. I just think it's because he had to, because then people would just be questioning him every time he did like one of these phone calls, and people would be like, "So when are you gonna have a women's division? When are you gonna have a women's division?" and all that. So I don't really want to spend like too much time on this, because I mean, I don't know. I just feel like this is gonna be like an ongoing conversation. So
yeah,
I'm sure it'll be like Joe mentioned, pretty serious allegations in part of that thread, and just the thread in total and the whole interview and stuff that she's done recently is there's a lot to kind of there's a lot to dig around and hopefully resolve there. So let's see how it all plays out, and of course we'll all be hoping for the most positive of outcomes, but yeah, moving on. More super chats. Appreciate Mario Judah for the previous super chat I just had on screen. Mason 84 199. Remember how Beast Hangman versus Cage was? Run it back. That was very good. Yeah, it was the number one contenders match or something. Or Hangman was ranked number one at the time or something.
Right.
Like that. Good stuff. Very good stuff. $2. Appreciate it. Run Jay White versus Punk All In while he's a face. Listen, bro, I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Pretty much any of the Punk singles matches that have been floating around as fan suggestions, I'll take, to be honest. Samoa Joe, Jay White, MJF, any of them. Obviously, the MJF match is out the window now, but Dunmas, $5. Jeff Jarrett calling Satnam a dumbass for standing on the wrong side during the entrance pop. There's a lot of pops with that team.
Yeah.
Masson 84 199. Run AEW TBS ROH Women's Champ 3-way at All In.
The match would be incredible. I don't know about but yeah.
But what do you do about belts?
Right, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Feels like a cheat of getting out of doing actual match, Darren Walker, £5. Appreciate it. We need Shida versus Deeb match for the title. It's crazy there's no creative Serena. I think she's actually like out. I don't think she just like sat at home in perfect condition to wrestle, But yeah, she's great. Serena is. $2. Manny, you seen the video of that cop on the slide?
Of course I have.
Of course he has. Ibu. Of course, we all know Ibu is backup Hangman, $1.99. Fleet back. Yeah, man, AEW Dynamite was a very, very good episode last night, and the AEW faithful absolutely enjoyed the shit out of it. So, a success and a very big way to end the show as well. Obviously, it's unfortunate how our conversation went since we've done the Dynamite review, but, Mario Judah, $4.99. Appreciate it. You seen if he's... No, that's the one I already brought up. Big Ben's $4.99. Appreciate you. Monty, we need some kind of payoff from Scamboo putting his career on the line if Cody didn't finish the story at SummerSlam. Don't let him go unscathed. Yeah, we're going to have to think of some kind of forfeit. But he's super unprofessional, you know what I mean? He's late, he doesn't show up. You remember when he promised the Sunday show he'd show up on camera and he didn't do that either? He's full of shit,
All of his Super Chat money went to us instead for like a year or 2 or 5.
Yeah, he does the Sundays for like my benefit, Like that would be really
That's a good idea.
Yeah. The National Cody Fan Club Association $1.99. Britt Hulk Baker. I mean, Britt Baker's name always comes up, even when it's like even unfairly sometimes, but that's the name that does always come up. So
to be clear, I was laughing at the gentleman's profile pic, which will never not pop me every time on the screen.
Yeah. All right, so a little bit of news I want to touch on before we get out of there. Since I'll put it on the docket. Obviously, as we all know, AEW, they have secured the future of the Elite. They've all signed long-term deals, multi-year deals. Hangman, Kenny Omega, the Bucks, they are going nowhere. Well, that's for sure. They put pen to paper. It's been announced. They've said as much on screen. We all know it's true. They're not going anywhere. But it seems like they did definitely. They considered their options, if we are to believe Dave Meltzer, at least. But apparently, all 4 guys made a pact that they were going to stay together. Like whatever company they end up in, that all 4 of them are going to end up in that company. Which, to be honest, as soon as you see that, kind of points to one company anyway. But yeah, apparently all 4 guys did make a promise to each other, a pact with each other that they would not be splitting up no matter what happens. And obviously that was a huge part of their decision making. And apparently it was something that went back and forth. And a couple of the guys may have wanted to see what life was like in WWE or New Japan or something. And it was something that they went back and forth on. And yeah, man. Something that they weighed up, and apparently there was interest from WWE, especially in Kenny Omega. So there was interest in all of them, as you could imagine, but Kenny Omega was definitely the one that seemed to be, circled by Triple H, Bruce, Vince, whoever made that decision, But they ain't going nowhere. But does it surprise you, Joe, that Kenny was the one that they kind of singled out?
It doesn't, and I think the irony of that is, in fear of getting ahead of myself, I think we all heard very similar things, and the conclusion generally was Kenny was the one who was least interested in going, which is kind of, I know we've talked about this before. Like the belief was that Kenny was the one of the I don't want to say the big 3 because that's so unfair to Hangman, but like the older 3, right? The guys who are this is probably their last big contract. The belief was that Kenny was completely uninterested in this move, which always was paired with the information that he was also the big fish for them, right? Because that's the way they view. I think that's partly because of how they just generally have kind of viewed tags historically, not right now necessarily, but historically. So I'm not surprised by any of it. No, it's in line with a lot of kind of what the whispers were previously.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, Monty, that as soon as you hear they had a pact to stay together, it becomes a lot clearer why they're all together in AEW. It's just the right place for them to be as a group. Like it just makes sense for all involved, I think, ultimately. So makes sense to me.
I was never in doubt that I never thought for a second Kenny was going to leave, and it's because I never thought Kenny was going to leave the Bucks weren't going to leave either, even though
Right.
maybe the Bucks would have entertained it. But I'm not saying that. I don't know how to put it without if the Bucks and Hangman went to WWE without Kenny, I feel like they probably wouldn't have had the success they probably would have if Kenny was there. I think it was just all determined on that. Of course, they would have their good matches with the Usos and whoever attacking, but I don't think besides that initial run,
definitely is different. Yeah,
I think without that initial run, they would have just fell apart and they would have been kind of swimming around,
Yeah.
I think there'd be a big hit as just a tag, but you would book them completely differently if they were coming alongside Kenny Omega. It's a completely different package, obviously. So
I think it doesn't surprise me that WWE their most interesting is with Kenny, because it's Kenny Omega, and this will probably be his last big contract as a full-time wrestler. So they kind of knew this was their last ditch effort of having him have an extended run in WWE, and it didn't work out. So it's a shame for them, but it's great for me. So
man, it's Kenny's the clear, they're all great, of course, but Kenny's the clear, well-established, worldwide, well-established single star. Do you know what I mean? The Bucks, as amazing as they are, absolutely have a very solid case for being one of the GOAT tag teams. WWE. No, it's hard to say that with a tag team match main event in WrestleMania this year, but
it is different.
It is seen differently there. Even though they do have a strong division at the minute, it's just different there. It just is. Then obviously Hangman's just he's great, he's definitely been able to put together a resume while being in AEW, he's beat Moxley, he's been world champion, he's done all these great things, a lot of feathers in his cap in AEW, but he's not Omega,
And the way WWE works, this isn't going to be Hangman's last big contract, I don't think so. By the time his deal runs out in AEW again, that might be when they make them move through, because he'll be in his mid to late 30s, and just we want him now. It's just the way WWE works, and it's very weird.
Kenny also has the most the obvious physical presence as a top guy. Also, Manny, what you gonna say, mate?
I just think it's kind of funny. All these guys, it feels like all these guys' careers kind of just depended on what Kenny wanted to do, and then
Beast.
It was a packed manner, It was all four of them, You gotta give the credit.
I think the deal with the Bucks, honestly, is I think they're pretty confident that their legacy is secure, and I think they're just
they said as much. Basically, I think it was Nick or Matt who was as we're winding down, we don't care about legacy that much anymore.
We didn't get into it much yesterday because this report hadn't been added to it, but their quotes were in line with every single thing we had heard during the negotiation. It all matched in terms of Kenny had a very specific artistic feel on things, and the Bucks were that's cool with us. I think they would have explored it, but they're more than happy to stick around, and they're getting paid great, and they can have great matches and do their thing. So it's just natural.
This feels like it's a Bucks last contract, and then this feels like I think after this they're done wrestling after.
Well, we were talking earlier about, we were having fun about how beat up Dax is, but the Bucks are so graceful. People don't realize they're feeling it, man. They've been doing this for a long time. They talk about it a lot, and people don't take them seriously when they say they're not going to be doing this for that much longer.
100%. I appreciate them while we got them. These great tag teams that we're around, because it's the big name tag teams that will come off from this era will be FTR, the Bucks, the Briscoes, New Day, and the Usos. They'll probably be the big. What's that?
You consider the Briscoes in this era? I feel like they're kind of the era before that, or
I don't know, because
honestly, you could say that with the book. The Bucks are fucking.
Their most famous work was 2022 with FTR, right? So
yeah.
But they've always been the Briscoes. They've always been they've always had an argument for being a top 3 tag team in the world. Do you know what I mean? Up until, of course, when Jay obviously tragically passed away. But yeah, I'd say they were Manny does this. I lost what the fuck I was going to say now. Like, I've just named 5 great tag teams. I don't know where the point was going.
Just the point. I think your point was just, appreciate them while they're in. Obviously, in the Briscoes case, is even more.
Oh yeah,
points,
none of
right?
none of the ones that are still active that I mentioned, none of them are young. The Usos, your video, it states like they're like 12, 13 years into their run now. FTR, we talked about it this podcast. Bulks, we talked about it this podcast. And if Jay was still around, I doubt they'd be feeling very like rosy these days. You know what I mean? Because they have the Briscoes put themselves through probably more than any of the fucking names that we just mentioned. So, yeah, man.
This is kind of weird now we're talking. You brought up those 5 tag teams, and you feel they're like my bad.
Go on, man, get it out.
No, I was gonna say, like, these feel like these definite 5 teams are like this of this generation, and you don't really know who the next 5 are of the next generation. It just feels like I'm kind of scared for tag team wrestling after these teams go away, and it just feels like it's Aussie Open, and then everybody else.
It does go in cycles. Tag team. There are long chunks of wrestling history where there just aren't a great collection of tag teams. It's happened before, so it's a worthwhile point, man. For sure. And I just hope that, the young fans that are watching these teams will eventually want to be a tag team because of that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a big part of it.
Yeah, man. But yeah, Kenny Omega was the one that WWE was. Like I said, they were interested in all of them, but Kenny Omega was the one that they circled out, and it seems to make all the sense, And it's not even anything against any of the other talent, It's just. Kenny's Kenny, man. He's one of one. He really is. So, not surprising at all. And they are, they're all elite for the foreseeable future. And on that note, unless we've got any plugs, which I think we do, I just need to pull up my notes.
We do have plugs. I'll be live in 20 minutes on the Late Night Grin Twitch. Monty may be in the chat. We'll be previewing the SummerSlam, which is a pay-per-view the World Wrestling Federation hosts. Manny's a big fan of. We're going to talk all things Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Gunther. You know the deal. Late Night Grin.
Yeah, man.
Hold up. Cole Carter being teased for the
Anyway, yeah, man. Mentioning Cole Carter, this is what...
Hey, man.
This is why we're reducing your contract a little bit, Anyway, let's wrap this up. Anyway, plugs. Of course, YouTube. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got all kinds of different podcasts. If you can, if you can give us a like on the video, it's always much appreciated, especially on the way out. Just give us a little like, if you're logged in, etc. And if you're not logged in, log in and give us a like. After the video goes up, please leave a comment while you're still here. That would be very much appreciated. That all helps as well. We appreciate all the super chats as always, of course. And yeah, man, at WrestlePurists on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, on Threads if people still use that. Follow us on Twitch at WrestlePurists on pretty much everything these days. We're on Instagram as well. We've got a great admin over there. What's up, man?
No, just some of those Instagram posts are always pop me every time I go on there.
See? Pops,
because it's like I'm never on Instagram that much, but whenever I am, I refresh the feed and I just get hit with the WrestlePurists grab picture, and I say, "What the fuck?"
How do you get hit, Manny? Do that again.
Yeah, man. We got some cool features coming out this week. We've got like a SummerSlam one, and we have. Do I want to say it? No. We have a SummerSlam one coming out soon. We have a surprise, We have a surprise. It may or may not involve someone on the screen. And
oh my god, Manny!
Hey, man, listen, when Manny gets the pen, he can call.
I retired from writing.
I heard that.
You did. He has his phases, He has a purple patch where he'll write like 6 articles in 3 weeks, and then you just won't get anything off him for 6 months. It's just life for the Hooper, But yeah, man, check out the website. We've got some cool features coming out. We might be back tomorrow with like Unpurist or something. We're always doing these podcasts and live streams on YouTube and Twitch, just help us out, support us, follow us, like our content. As we always say, we always appreciate the super chats. That goes a long way. And yeah, man, thanks for watching. Again, last thing, like the video on the way out. Peace.